Wah, 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 wah. Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome, my friends, to CLOBBERIN Times issue number, well, 302 on YouTube, but 1002 on overall, I should say. So, wow, my goodness. It is wonderful to be here with you all tonight with, I thought you were going to say, there, that was your cue. With my wonderful first officer, everyone say hello to the wonderful Commander R.M. Briggs.
Hello, everyone. I missed you all. I hope you had a wonderful week, and it's great to see you. We've got 4 more episodes for you tonight, and we're going to have a blast.
Indeed, indeed. I'm so happy you're all here. This is what I look forward to it so much every Saturday night. You all have made it such a wonderful thing here on Saturday Night Star Trek. I just love it, and I love you all. So great to see you here tonight. Let's see. Before we get started with our hellos and our show notes, of course, I would like for my wonderful first officer to tell you about her wonderful literary works that are available out there and how to find them. And she does it way better than I can do it. I try, but she just does it way better than I can do it. So go for it. Number one.
Very kind of you. Thank you for using your space to promote my work.
Our space tonight. Go ahead.
Yeah, folks, I write science fiction short stories, and they're on sale at Amazon. All you have to do is look up R.M. Briggs. They're under $1, and I could sure use your support. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you so much. Of course, there is the link in the chat there, and of course, it is always there in the description below, as are links to many wonderful things, including some of my playlists for some of my videos, and of course, wonderful fellow YouTubers out there. So it is great to see you all. Let's see, show notes. Is everyone hearing us okay? So let us know how the sound is out there, if you would. Anyone who wants to be our sound checker tonight, all of you can be our sound checker tonight if you so choose. So let us know how that's going, and I will do some show notes here. Monday night at a special 3 hours earlier special time. I will have it. It'll be Monday night Mark C. Comics Talk. Klobby's classic comics review of the classic, indeed, the late 90s classic Elseworld story, Kingdom Come. Because it's about dying time someone being me, and of course my great guest, J-Man, has reviewed this one. So it's a classic. Again, 5x5. You're all hearing me good? Okay, good. Well, we're getting some good ratings on our sound. Number one.
Good.
Right. Thank you so much for that, everyone. I appreciate it. So yes, this is a classic. It's about time. CLOBBERIN Times clobbered it. And we will be doing so again with my great friend, J-Man. It'll be 6 p.m. Central Standard Time as opposed to the usual 9 p.m. for this review special. And I am looking forward to it. J-Man, buddy, good to see you there. We're going to say some hellos now to our wonderful friends in the chat and everyone who has joined us. I'm getting as many of the names down as I can.
Captain,
yes.
I gave Jill permission, Antiderivative Jill, our communications officer. I gave her permission to spend some time with family. So she will not be joining us this evening. But
I got you. Well,
she'll
shout
be here
out
in
to
spirit.
Jill anyway. We love you, Jill, if you do happen to hear this later or whatever. Antiderivative Jill, I hope you're having a wonderful night out there with family.
She's not MIA.
Not MIA. That's good. That's good to know. I'm glad you told me.
She reported to her superior officer, and all is well.
Well, it is never easy. She's on shore leave, so it is never easy to be without your communications officer. But we will manage. We love you, Jill. And again, let us begin our hellos to our wonderful friends here on this Super Bowl Saturday night Star Trek special. So yeah,
you guys, everyone in the United States, they're going to be eating really well this season. I'm so jealous.
It is. Oh man, I love Super Bowl Sunday for a host of reasons. The food is one of them, and I hope you all have a wonderful Super Bowl Sunday tomorrow, whether you're a sports fan or not. If you're not, if you're not a sports fan, but you go to the parties, then you have You have you don't have the pain of being a sports fan, but you have the fun of hanging out at a party and getting good food. So I hope you all have it's look, it's a national, it is a true holiday here. It's we declared a holiday here. So anyway.
Yeah, I don't want to watch football, but I want to eat all the food. And the answer to your question, Dad Man Walking 55, is yes, an emphatic yes. I would do almost anything the Dad Man clan requested. So you're on, buddy, you're on.
Yeah, but we would still make you watch football if you came here. But you get the food, so you'd be okay. You're going to sit next to me, and I'm going to talk about football right to your face the whole time.
That would be fine because my face would be full of food.
Oh my goodness! Anyway, hey, I was about to say go Bengals, but we're not gonna take a side here tonight. Go Bengals. All right, everybody. Welcome to hello to the great RN Feliciano, who was here first. Good to see you there, Raymond, buddy.
Hey,
who has,
the
of course,
Felicianos, the most romantic wrenches on the internet. Good evening, you fine folks.
Raymond and Sandra. Hello. Janet from another planet. Love you, Janet. Good to see you there.
Oh, long time no see. Interplanet Janet, she's a galaxy girl.
Yes, indeed. And also the great Lord Thoth. Go Bengals, and Avon live and long live the Legion, buddy.
LT and Mrs. LT.
Still can't believe I'm rooting for the Bengals. It just doesn't feel right. Anyway, let's see here. Fans from all
It's just another manic Monday, or are those the Bengals? Sorry.
No, Bengals. Yeah, these are the baby tigers. Let's see here. Phantom Outsider, buddy. Good to see you.
Hey.
D-Bud, the man of iron. D-Bud Martin, brother.
And his kitty cat, who I apparently scared with my.
Oh, I did not know that. I did not know that. Good to see you there, Raymond. Snorta Poopas.
Snorta Poopas!
Cuba.
Snorty. He is, of course, the legendary master of wrenching. He is the bronze wrencher himself, the great Eric K. There you go.
Thank goodness for that strategically placed wrench. Otherwise, we would all be blushing.
You make me stop wanting to play the shit out of thing now.
Don't. It's great.
And of course, we have it thanks to the great wrench we have with us tonight, the Chris Persia. Chris, buddy.
Yeah, the great
Good
wrench.
to see you, man. Indeed. Niratanex Amanda Bear. Welcome. Another Bears here. We got a lot of Bears tonight. It's funny. We have 3 Bears. We have a Bears fan here. This is Bear Central here. That's 2 Bears so far. The great Kal-El, Super Kal-El, buddy.
The real Superman.
On Super Bowl Saturday night, so that's perfect. Mazerus, hello there, Mazerus, and welcome.
Evening.
And let's see here. Again, the aforementioned and great J-Man. Good to see you here, buddy.
Hey, J-Man's here.
Enjoyed your show earlier, buddy. Hope I wasn't making too much trouble in that chat for you, bro.
Follow J-Man. He's a very, very, very nice person.
Yes, he is. He is an amazing fellow. J-Man is a good buddy of the show. Mrs. Dadman Walking and Mr. Dadman Walking. The Dadman clan.
The Dadman clan.
Absolutely. It is
very,
good to
very
see you.
Sweet, good people. The kindest family.
Yep. And I wish something tells me I wish I was going to their place for a Super Bowl party, because it sounds like they got a lot of good stuff planned there. I'm going to a fine one tomorrow, but I get Pastelaya tomorrow, so I'm happy. But I hear they're making some good stuff too.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be such a great weekend to eat in the United States.
Yes, that's what it is.
Well, it's the blanket, queso. I mean,
it does. I mean, this game gets billions of people all over the world watching it as well, who do it as well. So it's world phenomenon. The Super Bowl is always usually one of the biggest rated shows of the entire year worldwide. So, Just Joe, 47. He's a Bears fan. So that's, again, we're in Bear territory. And then we got Enigmatic Drop Bear. Good to see you, ED.
Ooh, nice. ED, the erudite bear.
Lions and Tigers and Bears, oh my. Because we don't have any Lions yet, but I'm just saying, because we have the Bengals we're talking about, they're Tigers. So we
True.
get a lion around here, we will have Lions, Tigers, and many Bears, oh my.
Ooh, look who just walks through the door.
I see
Michael
him.
Beacom.
I got him. Michael Beacom, welcome. I got, I'm, there we go. Let's see. We also have the great JT Kirk here.
Oh,
And,
JT's here. That's great.
Yeah, it's good to see you there, Michael Beacom, by the way, brother. Always a pleasure. And JT, good to see you. And the great, your Muslim uncle. What's up, my friend?
Good evening. So
Peace
nice
be
to
upon
see you.
Yes, indeed. It is fantastic to see you. Anybody else who comes in, I will grab him. I don't have them all. I don't see anyone else yet. Whoopi! Oh, there's Whoopi! Oh, yeah. Well, we do have a dolphin. You're right, Raymond, but you're not a Dolphins fan. You just like dolphins and books. You're right about Dolphins, but aren't you a Packers fan? I don't know. Now I'm confused.
Wolfie's here.
I got him. Wolfie. Gotcha, buddy. Good to see you, Wolfie. So, yeah, I think now, Raymond, are you a Dolphins fan? You just like to write about Dolphins. Now I'm really confused. But anyway, it's okay. We will catch anyone. Oh, look at that. There's Captain Marty Spock. He's a Dolphin.
Evening.
What is up there, Captain Marty? Good to see you, sir. And try to catch everyone as they come in. Your Lord Thoth, go Raiders. Wait, yeah, I know your Raiders got messed up. Sorry, buddy. All right, well.
Go chili dogs. Go
Number
pigs
one.
in a blanket. Go queso dip. Go beer.
Go
Please
Super
drink
Bowl
responsibly.
Food. No beer. Cherry Coke, as I will swig right now. I'm cheating and having some Cherry Coke now instead of for tomorrow. Well, tomorrow also. But I love Cherry Coke. Sorry.
I haven't seen it in the stores in a couple of years, and
Really?
I really miss cherry Coke, and I really miss a wild cherry Pepsi. So good.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Oh, that's true. That's a good point there, JT, because I know Detroit still loves Stafford now, even though he's with the Crams. So that's, in a sense, an old Lion. So we have Lions and Tigers and Bears. Oh, my. Here. I just needed a reason to say that again.
Dun, dun, dun,
Good to see you.
dun.
Good point there, though. I forgot about that, JT. Excellent. All right. Well, I guess we could get started with our what we're here for, right? And
Let's do it.
here on this Super Bowl Saturday night Star Trek special. It's time to start the main event. Yeah, some people only like the commercials. Michael.
Why would anyone want to watch a commercial?
Well, it's a big deal because they truck out all of their big new commercials for Super Bowl Sunday because of the ratings, and they make them fun. They try to make them funny. So almost all of them, especially in the first couple of quarters, it's them trying to make commercials not just normal. They're funny. They're all outrageous. They're humor. They're
I'm all for that.
And people like those. So there's a tradition here. So people love watching Super Bowl commercials. The problem is, in fact, after the night after the game or the night of the game, people review the commercials as much as they review the game. Almost were they funny? Were they good? They'll show commercials for all the new movies coming out. But and that's also a thing. But also, they're all not just the products, but they all try to be as funny and clever and as entertaining as they can. And sometimes they fail miserably. Sometimes they do okay. But a lot of people who are not into football watch for the commercials and hang out for the food. So
I'm in favor of that. I'm in favor of returning to really slick and really well produced and well written commercials. So here for the Super Bowl commercials.
They're a big thing, and they have been for many years. And it's just that lately they've been kind of very lacking over the past few years, but people watch that with interest and to see, hey, so how were the commercials this year? Which were the best ones? So they're always trying to be funny. They're actually like little mini shows, the commercials. So it's a big deal with the Super Bowl. There's that. There's the stupid halftime show, which I don't like, but people like that. It usually has really huge names, performing. The whole thing is a big show, not just the game, but for me, it's just the game and the food. And
the last time I heard about that halftime show, the thing happened with Janet Jackson and Justin Timberlake. That was and I only heard about it because it was in the news.
That was the 2004 Super Bowl Patriots and Panthers. Yeah. Which they played in Houston. Why do I know that? I'm an idiot. Anyway. Okie dokie. Well, everyone, let us get let us leave orbit, shall we?
Let's do
Um,
that. Can you tell everyone about the 735 Club, please, Captain?
Go for it. Well, it is, of course, a club where there are only 735 installments of actual, legitimate, real filmed Star Trek, 1966 through 2005, 6 series and 10 films. And we're reviewing them all one by one, 4 episodes a night usually. And we are in Star Trek The Next Generation Season 5 right now. And this is the source for this series that my wonderful first officer is working from. So I say to you, take it away, number one.
Well, I'm using this book because there's so much user-generated content on the internet these days. Half of it isn't even true, and so it becomes fan lore, factoid instead of facts. So we're using this, and this is a pretty good book. It's Star Trek 365: The Next Generation. It's written by Paula M. Block. She is a prolific writer for Star Trek. She gets a bit of help from her husband Terry J. Erdman, who's a writer in his own right. And obviously, this is one of the reasons why I chose this book is because it offers summary, but she also offers original source material that she's not going around the internet trying to find facts. She interviews people who were involved with writing, producing, acting in this show. So we use this text and we talk a little bit about the episode. Then my captain and I discuss what we thought about the episode. Then we put it to the chat and we ask the chat, what do you think? So we review it as a community. It's a very organic experience. So we will not be plodding through every line, wondering whether or not it was well wrought. We are flying by the seat of our proverbial pants and having a great time doing it.
Pleasant Valley Picker.
Dun, 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 dun. Hello, BC.
Good to see you. Good to see you there. So, yes, I guess we will begin with our first episode of the evening. What do you think?
Yeah, we're on Conundrum.
Oops.
Season 5, episode 14. This first aired on February 10th, 1992. So I am going to be reading from that wonderful block text. And if you're reading along with us, and also to stay copyright compliant, I will be reading from page 242. I'll be reading extemporaneously to keep with that organic feel. So if I make mistakes, too bad. The entire crew suffers complete memory loss after an unknown alien ship scans the Enterprise. Although unable to recall their names or duties, she said duties, they quickly realize that somehow they still know how to operate the starship. In the confusion, no one notices that Kieran McDuff, identified by the ship's computer as the Enterprise's executive officer, is someone they've never seen before. The computer also provides evidence that they are on a mission to cross into Lycian space and destroy that species' central computer, as well as any Lycian vessel that attempts to stop them. Somehow, it all feels wrong to Picard, but his new first officer insists he must follow his orders. Clues, Conundrum, and the upcoming Cause and Effect all cover similar territory. The crew of the Enterprise encounters ... something, and then they lose their memories, either of the encounter or of their own identities. Yet each, in its own way, Oh, wow. Okay, Paula.
In its
Stands
own
out as a unique episode. Oh, okay, she's going to talk about the episodes. Okay, so she gets past there. With the 4 seasons, clues evolving into an old-fashioned mystery. Why did Data lie? Cause and effect into a high concept-driven adventure. The Enterprise is caught in a time loop. And Conundrum into a tale most akin to Cold War subterfuge. Win a war by convincing powerful strangers that your enemy is their enemy. Of the 3, only Conundrum attempts to play out the humor of the situation, with Worf staking a claim on the captain's chair, Data being mistaken for a bartender, and Riker betting Ro Laren, a woman with whom he normally can't even have a civil conversation. And that is all the block text has to say about Conundrum.
Drum, 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 drum.
What did you think of the coverage, Captain? And what did you think of the episode?
Well, interesting coverage there. I just the episode. I don't know. I thought it's just. I think there were some interesting ideas to it, but it's tough to buy into because there's so much silly crap in it for me. I mean, in other words, it's a pretty big stretch that you're supposed to believe. And look, it's science fiction. I get it. But look who's here. Look who's here. Look who's here.
Dun, 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 dun.
Mark D with a C, the chief engineer. What's up, duder? I don't know. I remember I kind of liked it better when I first saw it, years ago, because I thought it was kind of an interesting idea. But you have to buy into a lot. You have to buy into them being able to. Everything is completely intact except who they are, their memory. And I'm going. I get it. It's a science fiction concept. You're supposed to make an allowance for it. It's just got so much goofy crap in it. I don't know. I really want to like. I actually kind of wanted to like the episode because I thought it was interesting. Also, see them. Let's see them like the stuff with Worf. I actually think that was fairly interesting. Worf asserting himself to be the captain because he's the the aggressive.
He was wearing a baldric. Yeah.
Well, yeah, actually part of it, and his aggressive nature is to be the leader.
Yeah.
I thought some of that was pretty interesting. And yes, when Picard, who still didn't know who he was, when he found out he was the captain. He handled it well, and he didn't get all up for the Worf's crap about it. The stuff with Riker and Ro going on. Oh, I forgot to say this at the beginning of the show, folks. Tonight on a very special episode of Riker's Pants. In fact, I'm subtitling tonight's whole Saturday Night Star Trek. It's called Tonight on Riker's Pants.
Yeah.
There are
other things. There are other things wrong with it too, right? Like TOS was canceled because it was too cerebral. They thought that the public they needed to dumb it down. And so, of course, the corporation took over in the third season of TOS, making a giant cluster F of content no one wanted to watch because, it was too cerebral. You could definitely never accuse Conundrum of being, too cerebral or even science fiction. It's quite an annoying episode.
Because you got to make a lot of leaps, first of all. And
you do.
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe there's part of me that finds it kind of the whole Riker Ro part funny, but just not convincing. In other words, I kind of smiled and laughed at it when it was so obvious that at the beginning of the episode they were fighting, and then when they start losing their memory and stuff, I'm like, okay. And then I watch it when we get to the parts where the two of them, and it's just nothing but cringy.
Yeah,
it's really cringy and uncomfortable. I know
and
it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be.
The Sataran part. The Sataran part is the part where I can't enjoy it. And I'm like you. I want to enjoy this episode because it does have some good humor in it. Because I do like all of those ideas. I mean, you're my Star Trek soulmate, so you're speaking for me when you're talking about all of those little encounters that they have that develop these comedic dialogues, and they're quite enjoyable. But the fact that the Sataran part of it ruins it for me.
The Sataran part?
Yeah, the Macduff. He's actually
Macduff character. Okay, yeah, I got it. Okay, yeah, because there's there's another problem with the episode right there. Even if you're supposed to buy into. They don't know what's happened to them. Well, it's a dead giveaway with this guy that we don't know. They almost like they wrote this thinking that the audience was going to lose their memory.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they didn't because we don't know this dude. So clearly, he's the problem. It's just like they telegraphed the punch from like a mile away. We knew the punch was coming. That this guy was up to something. Granted, we don't know what. But we kind of knew that. I don't know. I'm not buying into this guy. Why are there two first officers? Why? I mean, what is? I mean, maybe if you make that episode better if there's no Riker, you get rid of him, dump him somewhere.
Well, in my notes, I just put, like if you're a Sataran, and you have a choice, and you're going to monkey with people's memories to this degree, and you're going to try and do this, why not heighten it and make it more cerebral, make it more believable? So have the Sataran pose as the captain, making Picard the first officer. So that heightens the stakes. And also giving Sataran the idea, or planting the idea with Sataran that they're trying to get the Federation involved, and dirty the Federation's hands. Then I believe that the Satarans are intelligent species and they're doing something worthwhile here. I mean, they
Okay.
can monkey around with people's brains and memories and computer advanced galaxy class starship computers to an extent where um, they can alter your perception and memory entirely, and yet they can't build weapons. It's just there are too many mistakes
Right.
here. And the gentleman who wrote this, his name is Barry Shikolnik or
Mm-hmm.
Shikolnik,
Mm-hmm.
or Shikolnik. I don't know how to say that. But yeah, it's just he made 2 or 3 critical errors in writing this one and prevented it from being fun.
I agree. Like I say, and some of the stuff with I understand what they were doing, the whole Riker Road thing, but it was a bit kind of cringy for me. I understood it. I just
Mhm.
kind of like. So overall, though, I thought it was an interesting idea. I just thought there was some kind of dumb stuff that kind of damaged it for me a little bit. What do you got with your notes?
I put so if you're unfamiliar with this show, I take notes because I watch Star Trek over and over and over again every single year. So instead of doing like a formal review, I take notes while I'm watching it. So when Clobby says, "What do you got in your notes?" Those are the notes I take with a pen or a pencil and paper while I watch the episode. And this is what I said about this one. Why would Troy beat Data at chess? This is the opening scene. Give me an effing break.
They're trying to bring. What is that supposed to be like a something like a Kirk Spock like a throwback because it doesn't work for them,
It does not work at all. One of many amnesia stories, but the block text covered that.
right?
And then I put not one of my favorites, as Kieran McDuff, who is a Sataran, has the power to memory wipe the Enterprise. A Sataran with the power to memory wipe the Enterprise would and should choose to pose as the captain, therefore placing himself fully in charge. uh, there would be
Yeah.
no need for this mutiny, and the negotiation would be totally unnecessary. And then I put the Decker unit strikes again. This is obviously the horniest man in Starfleet. Not only that, but we see Riker lying in this episode. So he lies he's a very bad Imzadi. He's a very bad Decker unit when he lies to Troy about the nature of what's going on between him and Ro, and he openly plays both women. So I thought that was weird. And then what made everyone suddenly return to normal with full memory? So they don't address that. They don't
No.
address how they're gradually regaining their memory. And if that was a point of the show, it should have been written into the show so that we
Right.
understand it. So overall, I wanted to thoroughly enjoy this episode, but because of the fact that they missed 2 or 3 really good opportunities to bring this story together and make it make sense with the Sataran or the Satarans, I'm just going to say no. It's not good. I'm not feeling this one.
Yeah, it's one of them that had some interesting ideas that they did. It's the execution here that is this is the big problem. I think overall not particularly well thought out. I would say. I mean, I've seen way worse, but yeah, I'm
Mhm.
not feeling it. I'm saying. So what is your rating? And for those who are new here, I will ask number one's rating of the episode. I will give mine, and then I will ask you, our wonderful friends in the chat. Please wait until I ask, and to give us your rating and any comments you may have. So. Number one, what is your rating of Conundrum?
For the Sataran problem, and also for Deanna Troy beating Data at chess,
Mm-hmm.
it's a C plus, and it should feel happy that it got a C plus from me, because a Troy beating Data at chess.
Yeah, for some of the more interesting aspects of the episode, I give it basically a C because I think it's just about as high as I can go. I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's really terrible. I think they're interesting moments, as I said, character moments. But yeah, I have a lot of the same reservations. So that's just me. Now, my friends, what is your rating of, and any comments you may have on, Conundrum? Go. The word is given.
Yes, the captain's given the word, so fire at will. Give us those reviews and some short comments, and we'll
Indeed.
definitely show them in the marquee, and we'll read them.
Fire at will. Fire at will. Fire at will. Okay, let's start putting those. Oh, thank you. Number one. As soon as you get a couple of those collected here, I will go for it. Okie dokie. So we will start off with the lovely Janet from Another Planet, and it is so nice to have you here tonight, Janet. Great to see you, my dear. I hope you're doing well. Janet says this episode was at best mediocre. Gives it a thumbs down, boring C-. Okie dokie.
I like the fact that she said it was boring. I did find that it does become quite boring when
Yes.
you realize that you can't buy into the story premise. So I love that, Janet.
Indeed, indeed. The great Kal-El says C. Conundrum is right. Although the episode had an interesting sci-fi concept, it just wasn't implemented as well as it could have been.
Bot alert. Somebody please
I
delete
tend
that
to
bot.
agree. Okay, cool. Let me know if somebody doesn't get it. He also says there were better ways to tell this story and make it more believable, but the episode chose not to explore them. Well said, our buddy Kal-El. Indeed, I agree. The great Lord Thoth says D+, an interesting idea, but this plot was impossible considering the technological superiority of the Enterprise Federation and the tech to give random memory issues. Really, it is cringe. No NAD writers. Bad NAD writers. No NAD writers. No NAD.
Well, N is next to B on the keyboard, so he might be on his phone. So I think that's bad writers. Bad writers.
Right. And and again, because data's there. It's always tough to account for data when you do this. How they were able to do this to data as well? I don't know. I didn't buy into it that much.
Yeah, I also didn't like that, despite the fact that it gave us that wonderful scene of the sunset drink and done in the traditional style, and watching him being a bartender.
That was kind of funny. Yeah.
I mean, it was such a great opportunity lost here.
Yep, they fumbled the ball on this one. Raymond Feliciano says, excuse me, C-. The 30-year me, I think the 30-year-old me probably means, enjoyed the mystery. Me, 30 years later, Decker unit in full effect. Program the Clublonis, Spurpies. It could be revving that thing up there, Raymond. The better half of the Felicianos
here we go.
gives it a C. Sandra says, so not only Riker is a Spurpy spreader, he lacks basic integrity. Deanna is not smart enough to beat Data at anything. Just not believable. Boy, that is for sure.
Okay, so that was an excellent, excellent comment. Thank you so much.
Indeedishness. Eric K says, A. Bizarro says, writing great like Santa's husband. Riker and Rowe make the perfect couple. McDuff, first officer, brilliant. Why be in charge? What brilliant? Why be in charge? Memory wipe affecting Data, brilliant like all organics. And I think he was going Bizarro on us there, folks. So
yeah, exactly.
Wolfie says, rating C. The show Rick and Morty made this idea work so much better in an episode titled Total Recall. Let's see here. An alien parasite gets into the brain of all of the members of the household, causing them to believe that there are more members to the family living in the house, but they are actually aliens.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
The weakness of the aliens is that they can only implant positive memories of the false family memories.
Okay.
When the actual family members realize how much they hate each other, they then eliminate the parasites. Anything closer to this would have made a hell of a lot more sense than this episode.
I agree, Wolfie.
There you go. Let's see here. Oh, where am I at? Thank you, Wolfie, of course. Snorty says C minus. The crew of the Enterprise is transported to a weird alternate reality where Counselor Cameltoe can beat Data at Triple D
Yeah,
chess. Yeah,
so dumb.
yeah, three-dimensional chess. That just doesn't happen. Uh, oh wait, Captain Picard endangers the ship by not following standard first contact protocols or the dictates of common sense. We're back to normal. Continue. Worf says we're equipped with 10 phaser banks, 250 photon torpedoes, and a high-capacity shield grid. Macduff, we're a battleship. Disembodied little girl voice. No, we're a science vessel. Oh, Lordy.
Love you. Somebody throw some
Snorty.
Arctic char at my bear right now. He needs some Arctic char and some chin scritchies.
And he's not even done yet.
You're not even finished yet.
I like the way Worf is large and in charge and thinking like a command officer. Yeah, it's almost like he's been watching Kirk episodes, right? Picard, on the other hand, is reverting to his inner beta male. That's so true.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I kind of like about this episode. Meanwhile, Decker unit's autonomous. He's the other part. He's Kirk's libido went into the other guy.
Mhm.
Autonomous Spurby spreading subroutine is functioning normally.
Yeah.
Let's see here. For once, Counselor Cameltoe is functioning properly, but people are so used to regarding her as useless that they ignore her.
Mhm.
Except for Decker unit and his strong snoo instincts. I know you got a 7. Hang on, dude. Let me see if I can find that one. Pretty sure there's another one from Snorty. There we go. I almost enjoyed this episode, but that was become my memory was. I think it's because my memory was wiped.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's the way it goes. And now, number 1, we have their great friend, Enigmatic Drop Bear. Would you care to do the honors?
Yay! ED, the erudite bear, enigmatic
Indeed.
drop bear. So we got a full-on Esh pick here, folks. It's a 5-parter. Snorty was a 7-parter. Enigmatic drop bear's got a 5-parter, and he's giving this one a C. He says collective amnesia is an interesting idea to explore. Unfortunately, the way it was used as the primary plot device in this story required too many leaps of logic to be believable. It beggars belief the memory suppression beam would simultaneously affect Data, the ship's computer, and various biological entities in the same way. Yeah, especially the way it skips over him. It's very weird.
Yeah.
3 of 5. Setting that aside, the ruse was very nearly successful. Had Macduff been more patient, employed more finesse, or just co-opted the captain's role, he may very well have achieved his objective. Yes.
Yep.
And
Yep.
sort of make it look like they're trying to get the Starfleet's hands dirty. Do you know what I mean? Then the whole thing comes together neat.
Yeah,
Then it becomes a tight story.
indeed.
4 of 5. Perhaps the Satarans could have avoided outside help altogether had they directed their technology at one or more of their foe ships to stimulate a civil war. Exactly. Why not use that tech against, well, yeah, anyway. 5 of 5. The Riker, Rolaren, Troy love triangle was amusing. It's always fun watching the Decker unit's chickens coming home to roost. Wonderful, wonderful, excellent, excellent. Snorty and ED, the bears are on fire tonight.
Indeed.
But not literally. Nobody put the bears out. Nobody put the bears out. You'll get bit.
Well, look who's here. We have some new friends that popped in. Eric Carroll
Hey,
is here.
nice to see you.
And Mega Cropper's here. Hey, Mega.
Hey. Oh, and
Good.
Darius Munchausen.
There he is. I can't see the new chat, so I'm behind if you see anybody. There, yes. Darius Munchausen. Good to see you, my friend. All right, let's see here. Where are we at? Okay. Pleasant Valley Picker says, I have amnesia for this episode as it wasn't memorable. Maybe a C.
Mhm.
I hear you, partner. Found some outsider says C for come on, man. Oh, Kirk can beat Spock, so Troy can beat Data. Nope. They lose their memories, and suddenly Decker unit is likable.
Yeah.
Riker wants this tech and a Horgon for next Ryza visit.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh. Let's see here. I'll get you. Find your next one here. Phantom. Hang on, buddy.
It's not a Horgon. It's a Hor constant. You know what I mean? Once it's in the Decker unit's hands, it's not a Horgon. It's a Hor constant.
It's a Horgon conclusion.
It's a Horgon conclusion.
Sorry.
You heard that here tonight, folks, on Saturday Night Star Trek. TMF is here. Hey,
TMF!
baby. Mwah, mwah.
Hey, TMF, good to see you, my friend. Let's see. Decker needs people without memory, without memory, character, or personality. It is the only way anyone can find him interesting. Also, so much for this honor, for the honor of Starfleet officers. Yet, after no one remembers.
Yeah.
Hang on. I'll get to your next one, buddy. Decker lying. Shouldn't that be a permanent record notation? What is he referring to? The stuff with Roe and lying to what's her name about it or something?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. Well, that's personal crap. Anyway, I don't know about his record, but also data probably lost on purpose. Seems like that classic style drink is one of the few things that shut Troy's up. Wow, dude, you are just a monster and big meanie face, aren't you? Oh, I didn't get all of it yet. Okay, there we go. All right, buddy, let's see here. Now, where are we at? Okay. Michael Beacom says, D, till I opened the book, I forgot this episode existed. This is not a joke. You have a race that can mask blank memories, including a positronic android that needs the Enterprise for anything.
Yep. And the computer, Michael Beacom, so that it doesn't even regain the computer doesn't regain on a Galaxy class starship, doesn't regain its full memory. It does it in stages, like it's some type of crescendo.
Insane. That's a good point. Instead of war, how about an alien probe that tried to impart knowledge to the crew and blanks everyone instead? Mm-hmm. Yeah, still no excuse for Data. Buffy the Vampire Slayer did this way better. Yeah, that was actually a good episode.
Oh, there's a Buffy the Vampire Slayer episode like this. Very cool.
Yeah, that was a good. If I'm thinking of the same episode you are, Michael, of course, that had a lot of great episodes. It was a good show. Mega Cropper says B+. Thank you, Mega. Always good to see you. We're glad you're here. Eric Carroll says, I give it a B. Okay.
That's a good rating.
Thank you, Eric. Appreciate you. JT Kirk says, question marks. Rating this episode is a conundrum. On the one hand, the story is fun, has some interesting ideas, and is well paced. On the other hand, McDuff should have been a Commodore.
Yes, the crazy Commodore.
Crazy Commodore.
The Mad Admiral.
Yes. Let's see here. Data plausibly lost to Troy. That fractal-like image of the Caloto hinders Data's positronic net. If the Satarounds, that's a good one. I see what you did there. If Satarounds wanted to really win, just find a Vorcha, a cruiser Klingons love to shoot.
Yep. Love JT Kirk.
Well done, JT.
And reviews are always perfection.
Mrs. Dadman says C+. Many plot holes, but an interesting concept. Would have given an A, but I really hate Riker. Mm-hmm. Troy beating Data in chess is a conundrum to me. Yeah, that's
yes.
You got me on that one, Mr. Dadman says B. I liked the concept and enjoyed it. Not perfect, but a Wesley clone to destroy the ship could have worked better. Please tell Rekirk, and he's no Kirk, and I used to call him Rekirk, and I have it. He's no Kirk, and that he's always thinking with the wrong body part. That is sure. Niratidaxandaber says, I give it a D. Not a big fan of the memory loss episodes. I like when Worf thought he was captain, but that was it. I hear you, Narat. And that's all of the ones. Did our chief engineer not have anything for us?
No, not that I Not that I saw.
No reviews from the. Maybe he's out somewhere.
Yes, he might be. It is the weekend for lovers, so he may
Yeah.
be otherwise
Oh,
engaged.
you think there are a lot of people doing like Valentine's crap tonight
There might be people doing
because
that
it's
so that
Monday?
they're able to have a great time. Oh, Keely Chow just
Keely
walked through the
Chow.
door.
Hello, Keely Chow. Roll Tide, Keely.
Oh no, Mark D with the C says it's coming up. Our chief engineer
No,
is
no
it's
hurry.
coming up.
No hurry, brother. We should just there we go.
Sporking Ray. Yep.
What Sporking? Oh, hello, Sporkers. Let's see here. Mark D with a C, B minus. Love the idea of stripping the crew of their memories and letting them discover who they are. And that Worf immediately just wants to blow shit up. Yeah, me too. I was going to say you love the idea of stripping Ro, but you know, maybe it's just me. Kidding, everyone. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to go. Sorry, ladies, and I didn't mean to be that crude and crass. Yes, I did.
Mr. Gas Mask
Hey,
Animations. Good
Mr.
evening, sir.
Gas Mask. Well, hello there, my friend. It is good to see you, young man. I hope you are doing well. Welcome, welcome, buddy. Number two, uh, enjoyed enjoyed the comedic lines, especially the scenes with Decker, Unit, and Roe Data. And Roe, Data would be the universe's best bartender and chess player. No way could Troy beat him. Yep, no way.
That's true.
That's some dopey stuff right there. That's for sure. Why not just kill the crew instead of all the deception?
Yep. And that's why I said, like, just clean it up by saying that you wanted to somehow dirty the hands of Starfleet and get them involved in your own little war or whatever. Like, it's just, yeah.
If
There
they
are
could
too many.
if they could do that to the crew, wouldn't they be able to just simply take over their memories and then learn how all the security access codes and all that stuff of the ship and just take over the ship and then go use it, do whatever the hell they want?
Yeah, or just take their cute little ships all the way to Starfleet headquarters and just take over and take away all of the ships and use them to win their little war that is basically, tanks against go-karts.
Right.
It makes no sense.
Sure doesn't. Let down by Macduff as an obvious MacGuffin, but overall I was entertained. Well, if you're still confused tomorrow, you know where my office is. Rain check. And let's see here.
Yeah, that was weird. I thought that was very weird. You know what I mean? Like, they both should have felt embarrassed the way that they were at one another's throats. And she walks away smiling and she says that. And it's weird, isn't it, Mark?
Yep. Oh, Dave G. Sound. Hello there.
Hey, Dave G. Sound. Nice to see you.
It is good to see you, my friend. Okay. Well, I think we're already ready to move on to our next episode of the evening. Are you ready? Number one?
Yes, I am. Let's
right.
stay copyright compliant. I'm
Is
going
it
to be
ethics or is
reading.
it power play?
Pardon?
Power play, right? Or ethics?
Yeah, it's power play. Yep.
Okay, power play. Got it backwards.
I'm going to be reading excerpts from Star Trek 365 The Next Generation, written by Paula M. Block. And I'm going to be reading from page 243. What episode are we covering? Power Play.
Power play.
Season 5, episode 15. And we all watched this for the very first time. Well, most of us did. On February 17th, 1992. Let's do it! While investigating a distress call from what they believe to be an uninhabited moon, Troy, Data, and O'Brien are possessed by alien entities that hijack their bodies and use them to take hostages aboard the Enterprise. Their ultimate goal? To free the non-corporeal spirits of condemned criminals from the moon's penal colony and take command of Picard's ship. Working on Power Play wasn't much fun at all, confesses writer Brandon Braga. The story went through a lot of writers' hands. Boy, we can tell. And had been written and rewritten again. Finally, it fell into my lap, and I did the best I could with the concept. But it was just a basic hostage drama with aliens, another body snatcher story. The budget-minded producers didn't have much fun with it either. Although it originally was intended to be a money-saving bottle show filmed primarily on the Enterprise, efforts to make the episode more interesting resulted in some major action scenes and a sequence shot on stage 16 involving wind, blowing sand, atmospheric fog, and lightning. The cost ballooned accordingly. The episode benefited from two things, Braga says. Our regular line producer, David Livingston, directed the episode, and he really elevated the material, top-notch directing. And also, the show at the time was at the top of its game, incredibly popular. And it just seemed like Patrick Stewart and the others could just do no wrong in the audience's eyes. So even though it was a mediocre script, in my opinion, it turned out okay. At least we got to see our character being different without a lick of pretension. No themes, no issues, no metaphors, just a good, solid action show.
Huh.
There's another tile. Would you like me to read it?
Sure, go for it. If you want.
Okay, I'll be reading from the block text, page 244, keeping copyright compliant. No, they don't know. They don't do their own stunts. And here's one example of why. Marina was always very active, like the rest of the cast. Very physical, says stunt coordinator Dennis Matalone. She always wanted to do her own stunts, but I always brought in a stunt double. The stunt required during the shooting of Power Play was a basic football, and all Sirtis had to do was fall over. Simple. So director David Livingston offered her the opportunity to do it herself. And she said, sure, I can do that, recalls the actress. The first take went fine, with Sirtis rolling her body slightly to one side, as I'd been taught to do in drama school, because there are no important bits on your side, she says. For the next take, the director suggested she fall straight back so the camera could see her face. Well, my brain stopped and I said, sure. And on take 2, I fell straight back and was laying there, immobilized. I couldn't get up. I had hurt my back. She hit the ground like a stunt woman, says Matalone. It was great. Her feet were up in the air. Her hair went flying. I was so proud of her. But when she got up really slow. Reportedly, the injury took several weeks to heal, but Sirtis gamely continued filming, successfully concealing any discomfort she may have been experiencing. That's not true. The keeper to the story is that when I saw the episode, they never came in on a close-up, laments Sirtis. It was a big wide shot that covered all of us. It could have been done by Michael Dorn in my wig and costume, and no one would have known. After that, I became much more careful about my stunts. And that is all the block text has to say about Power Play. Clobby, what did you think of the coverage, and what did you think of the episode?
Well, I did not know that about the her getting hurt on that set or any of that kind of stuff. But all I can tell you is I kind of actually agree with the coverage. It was kind of just sort of there. In fact, I think they were overselling it a little bit. It was not a whole lot to it. I didn't find it particularly compelling. Again, I just get a little bit tired of the body swap or the possession episodes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me
And,
too.
you know, just like with some of the memory, the amnesia episodes and the gimmick episodes, sometimes, unless it's a really good gimmick if it's a gimmick, then sometimes it's just not. But I mean, not really feeling it with this one. I thought it was kind of by the numbers and boring. I get it. They're possessed by aliens for the 10 billionth time. Are these spirits or these beings or whatever? Again, if you can, I can see them being able to possess humans. Leave Data out of it, because Data. How are you possessing Data?
Yeah, and you're thinking about that the whole time.
Right. Data should be immune to it. That should have been the problem. It should have just possessed someone else. It just doesn't make any sense. Like, there were times when Data's immune to crap, but if you just, for the hell of it, they just ignore it other times.
Yeah, and I'm sick and tired of Troy being possessed. I'm done now.
Oh, God. How many times have we been possessed so far?
Yeah, and
How many times?
Even in 1992, I do have to tell you, even back then when I started to really like this show, especially during season 5, I did not like this episode because I thought it was weird that it was like a possession, that it was kind of like it was trying to do something like The Exorcist or something, and then at the same time they were trying to turn it into an action show. It didn't feel like science fiction to me, and it definitely didn't feel like Star Trek.
Indeed, D-Bud, body swap episode on Red Dwarf was one of the great ones, but that's different. But yeah, again, it just Brandon Braga is obsessed with a couple of things. People body dysmorphia, or like the body horror stuff, changing
Yep.
people turning into monsters, and
Yep.
people being possessed by alien entities. He's
Yep.
such a crappy gimmicks writer. He really is. Hello there, James Caserta.
Hey,
Welcome. Good to see you. You know what I mean? It's just every time, not every time. It sometimes seems that every time you get one of these silly plots like this, it almost always Brennan Braga. Not
Yeah.
always, but he's done a lot of them. So again, I just mainly found it to be kind of, and again, the whole hostage crisis crap. Really,
yeah,
that's even more boring. You had another dumb
and it's not science fiction.
cliche on it. Yeah, and
Just because you put Star Trek on it doesn't mean that it's science fiction. This isn't science fiction. It's an action show, and and it's featuring a possession that is supposed to be ghost-like. So it's science fantasy in action.
I was more interested in the Essex and learning about that ship. Instead, they turn out not to be those people. Spoiler, like that's a big deal. And they turn out to be the Phantom Zone villains instead. Boo, big deal.
Yeah, it's just weird.
So,
Weird. I didn't enjoy it.
So now I will ask everyone to hold on your reviews and hold on your rating.
Don't worry, I start that early review. But yes, everyone, please hold your fire until the captain gives the word to hold or to fire at will. But you're not firing at will. You're holding hold your fire.
Yes, and I will ask my wonderful first officer, what is your rating of Power Play? And then I'll give mine. Then I'll ask you all for yours.
Okay, so here are my notes, and then I'll give my review.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
we
that's
didn't get
okay.
to the notes yet. See, sometimes I forget, and we haven't got to the notes yet, everybody. So please, yeah.
So here we go. These are the notes I took during the show. Troy knocks out Picard. Okay.
Mm-hmm. That's
right. Data can't smash a console. Again,
okay.
I'm leaving lots of space for everyone to think about this. Troy knocks out Picard, but Data can't smash the con.
Of course.
Okay, so this is, and then he later smashes it to crap in the hallway. Anyways, dumb. Patricia Tallman, or Lita Alexander from Babylon 5, is a security officer in this episode. She's on screen 3 or 4 times. She's quite lovely.
Love her. Yeah.
Just going to start our review there. Hold your reviews, please, folks. And then I put Troy is a liability. Troy, the liability of feeling ghosts on a planet, drawing the starship to a planet filled with ghosts. And then I put Star Trek, the Exorcist edition. And then I put Sirtis was injured doing her own stunts. Her limp and wince from her injury are visible in the final scenes in the 10 forward shots. And that's all I have to say about this episode. And I gave it a C+.
I gave it a C-. I just found it to be, I'm tired of the cliches and stuff. And the only reason it's getting this is because these episodes, I mean, there have been so many that are way worse that you have to reserve the really lower ones. But this is not, it's just, again, this is still filler crap. And granted, while there are plenty of way worse ones, this episode's lazy blah.
Yeah, and it's not science fiction, and it's not Star Trek. You don't have like a ghost story that is an action story and put Star Trek in front of it, and this is science fiction. No, it's not. Not.
You have to explain.
Ugh.
Right, you have to explain how they were. For it to be science fiction, we need a good explanation of how what those Phantom Zone villains down there, what their prison is, and why they're able to do what they can do, and all that stuff. They don't give you that, so it's just crap.
Yeah.
Let's see here. All right, hey, Mr. Angel's here.
Hey, Chef.
Hey, Chef, good to see you there. All right, always a pleasure, sir. Always great to have you. So, we're ready now, right? No, we're not ready for any reviews yet, folks. We're waiting for number one to give you. You gave me yours.
I did.
See, I already forgot because I was writing something down.
That's
And
okay.
yes, I'm going to go with that C minus. And all right, everyone, please. The word is given. Give your reviews, and we
Yeah,
will get
so
them. We will get them
now
together.
it's time. Fire at will, folks.
Right.
Give us your grade and
Yeah.
then some short comments, and we'll put them up on the marquee and we'll read them. Fire at
Indeed.
will.
Fire at will. Fire at will. Fire at will. All right. All right. You're righty. Yeah. This. Excellent. 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 Now I will get started. Now that we have some collected up, I like the system when it's working. All right. Pleasant Valley Bicker says, I liked Power Play. Was fun seeing nasty version of Data. Spiner, you both Spinner, but it's Spiner, but you accident, I'm sure. It was great. Sure, maybe Data should have been immune, but sometimes you got to turn off your brain and just have fun. B from Pleasant Valley. There you go. Thank you so much. James Caserta says Z minus. Not fond of it. So I'm going to go way out on a limb there, James, and say you weren't fond of that one. The lovely Janet from Another Planet says, I just felt like they should have at least waited a few more episodes to use this idea again. Boring. 3 thumbs down and a D. Yeah, that's a very good point. Very good point, Janet. Is here. I take it.
Dun, 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 dun.
Good to see you, my friend. With the easiest name to write ever. The great Lord Thoth says D minus. One of the worst episodes of the season. Whoa, really? Wow, he hates that one. Not Star Trek. A ghost story without the fun of Ghostbusters. Makes zero scientific sense. Reminds me of the Not Ghostbusters 2016. Ugh, awful. From the great Lord Thoth. I hear you, brother.
I agree.
Can't argue with you there, bro.
The suck is strong.
Sandra Feliciano says C. How many times can they be possessed until they are unfit for duty? Yeah, that's a good point. The story just failed miserably at living up to being Trek.
Yeah, only a nurse would say that, but it's such a valid point. Like she brings, Sandra's bringing back that the science fiction instead of the science fantasy. How many times does your brain, like how many times can your brain withstand being possessed, rewired, wiped, rewritten, wiped, rewritten again? It's a good point.
Indeed. B minus says the great J.T. Kirk. This episode has some weaknesses, beginning with Decker Unit's terrible acting surrounding the broken arm, and continuing through the also ran plot. The Essex is a Daedalus class ship. It would have been nice to see that. A spherical front and long body. You can see one in Cisco's ready room. That's right. The sonic weapons could have delivered enough pain instead of that cockamamie scheme. Good part. Good part.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I thought that it was weird the way that he was holding his arm as well. Johnny Fakes, he's holding his elbow like he's a little 5-year-old boy at the store, and he has to go pee-pee. Mommy, I have to use the bathroom. No one would hold their arm like that if their arm was broken. When you go flying through the air, you're not holding your arm like the pee-pee dance. Honey, gotta go pee-pee. Okay, honey. Yeah, I totally agree. Unbelievable.
Raymond Feliciano says C minus. I agree that the possession trope is getting old. However, don't you need a mind to possess? How do they possess Counselor Calico? Sad, very sad.
Oh, Raymond, what a great review.
Good point. Absolutely a good point there. Snortapoopas Cuber says C. In a fairly routine body hijacking hostage crisis story, O'Brien proves his technical competence and heroism. Yeah, okay, sure. Sure, fair enough. Sure, absolutely. Ironically, Troy is a more interesting character when someone else is running her body.
Yeah.
True. Maybe Certus relished getting to channel her inner B meanie.
Yep.
Yeah. Maybe. Let's see here.
Would have been better if she just would have followed the Bible and developed the character the way that Nimoy developed Spock. That would have been the best course of action.
Yep. But Data possessed. Why do they keep showing phasers hurling people backwards when hit?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it looks cool. I guess they think it does. But no, good point. Let's see here. If you would like to take this next one, it is the wonderful ED.
Hey, ED, enigmatic drop bear, the erudite bear. He's given this one a D+. He says this cliched mess featured the transporters and Troy in all their problematic glories. There are so many plot holes in this episode that it's an Esh squared pick would be needed to cover them all.
Yes.
Stand
Well
up
done.
and take a bow, my friend. What a great review and hysterical.
Indeedishness. And thank you, ED. Phantom Outsider says, C. Data wasn't really possessed. He was playing along. It's a hobby. This is for all those data enough. When he was simply trying to convey information. Troy in charge, science fiction. Troy in charge. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Troy being in charge is definitely science fiction.
Right. Yes. One of two, then he adds 2 of 3. Dude, you're gonna have to make up your mind, man. Troy cannot be possessed. The entity just took up residence. Troy is an empty vessel, no possession needed. Picard is sure quick to negotiate with terrorists, so they couldn't just use the transporter and beam them to the brig. It's not rocket science, people.
Yep.
No, sir, it is not.
Hey, Mr. Tickletrunk's here.
Hey, Mr. Tickle Trunk, welcome, sir. It is good to see you, my friend. Appreciate you. Okay, let's see here. Did I use that one? Oh, yeah, I just forgot to unstar it. Let's see here. D- from the great Toxic Man Flu. Hey, TMF, good to see you there. One of 12,345. Everyone sit down and have a drink. Counselor Camel 2 is possessed more than Marina Sirtis sticks her foot in her mouth. Plot has more holes than Patrick Stewart's ethics. Fantastic. Oh, man, I love it. This one gets a C- for me as well, says Eric Carroll. Thank you, Eric.
Yep.
We appreciate seeing you here. Thank you so much. Mrs. Dadman Walking says, C, not good, not bad. Could not even tell that Troy was possessed. Liked evil Data.
Yep.
I didn't see that. That was the thing. I'm tired of. I don't think Data should be able to be possessed so easily. That's just me. Nirat, the next Amanda says, I give it a C. Thank you, Nirat. Another good bear. Kal-El says, C. Once again, we get an episode that trots out another overused and tired science fiction trope with the possession of some of the crew. The only reason why it didn't get a lower rating.
Cardinal Sin, welcome, Gil.
Hey, Gil. What's up, Card? Good to see you, sir. Hope you're doing well, buddy. Is because the performances turned in by the actors portraying the possessed characters weren't terrible.
Yeah.
With Spiner's performance being particularly good. Well, you know, Spiner's always great. I mean, he's going to be great no matter what.
Yep.
Niratanax Amanda Bear says, for Evil Data, D for everything else.
Yep.
Oh, for Evil Data, D for everything else. Oh, I got you, Nirat. Thank you. Mega Cropper says C. Thank you, Mega. Appreciate your review, your rating there. Eric K, the great Eric K says D. The original series did it better, and Data is not an organic. Exactly.
No.
How are these people this stupid? Just meh.
Yep, it's true.
I'm with you there, sir. TMF, second one of 12,345. If Lazarus had fallen off of Riker's forehead into a vat of Romulan ale that sent him to Vancouver, it wouldn't have helped. Besides that, It was a good Twilight Zone.
I love these
Oh dear.
reviews from TMF.
TMF 10,000.01 of you get the point. 12,345. Did I mention the bad writing? No, I don't think you did.
I love him.
It's
I
got
love
another
him.
one?
He's so funny.
11 million of 12 billion. Let's see. I just like making the club zony. Well, you know what? Just for you, TMF. Just for you, buddy. For the great toxic man flu, here you go. Okay. So.
Love it. Love
let's
it.
see
Love
here.
it.
And one more from TMF. 12,344 of 12,345. It takes 10,000 spiritual aliens to possess that camel toe. Wow. My goodness. Michael Beacom says C-. I enjoy mixed genre efforts when well done. This one wasn't. Data possessed, go no further. You failed. At least no stupid B plot. Looks like a botched Halloween episode.
That's a very, very good point. Just so you know, Captain, you have a special gift from our friend Cardi, and it's in the queue when you get to it.
Cardinal Sin for a $20 super sticker. Cardinal, thank you so much, my good friend. You are too kind. It is lovely to see you here, buddy. I hope you're doing well. Hope you had a great. I know you had a big stream earlier.
Yeah.
I watched as much. I lurked as much as I could there. Very well done, and I hope you were doing well, my friend. Thank you.
Yeah.
You are too kind, buddy. Let's see here. Mr. Angel says Z. Simply said, I cast thee out, demon, begone, splashes waves of holy water on the DVD box.
Yeah, right? Chef, that's exactly how I feel. It's like, why are we doing this? What's going on here?
Oh, dear. Oh, my goodness. Dad Man Walking says B, just based on how it hit me. But probably it should be lower based on points you made. No. Look, like what you got to like and stick to your reviews, buddy. Don't ever worry about that.
Yeah.
All opinions are welcome here.
Yeah. Especially
like
yours. The way you treat people, you deserve to have as much space as you want, Mr. Dadman Walking,
You're good.
to express your thoughts and your feelings. You're more than accommodating to everyone else. If you want to give it a B, sweetheart, that's okay.
Well, that's cool, man.
That
Always,
is.
buddy. Where were I? Oh, Troy and O'Brien's acting in this one. Like Troy O'Brien's acting, he likes Troy and O'Brien's acting in this one. Sorry if we're going to go too fast. Respected Picard's move to sacrifice himself if needed at the end.
Yeah.
Mr.
I agree with
Trump.
that. I like how that you were touched by that point, because I actually thought that was the most intelligent point of the whole script, is when he says, it doesn't matter if I'm on the bridge or if I'm in 10 forward, we're all hostages here. Let me just get, the physical bodies out of that room and replace them with mine. And isn't it funny how that brings it all into focus, that you can physically be held hostage and you can mentally be held hostage, because, he wasn't going to allow himself to allow anyone to be hurt. So Dadman Walking, totally respect your review.
Indeed, Mr. Tickletrunk was a D, Claboni, and you got it right there, but there's the Clydoni right there for you, sir, at your service.
Oops, squared.
Toxic Manflu had one other. 12,345 is his ending of his espic. Turns out Data is actually a guy in makeup and colored contacts. Oh, are you sure? Wolfie says, rating C. It's worth pointing out that Red Letter Media's Mike says that the high tension scene in this episode, people walking down alleyway, is still more interesting than the filth's high tension mess of loud noise. Well, yeah. I mean, of course, can't argue with that. And none of this is ever worse than the filth. Speaking of Exorcist, we could use some projectile vomit and urine to bring this full circle.
Sorry, I know that wasn't a review. It was such a good comment made by Wolfie. I had to.
No problemo. Our great chief engineer, Mark D with a C, says C+. 2 episodes in a row. Yep. With potential but bad execution and too many plot holes. Minor, but why did Roe have a phaser on the bridge. That was something I actually wondered about.
Mm-hmm.
She just happened to have a phaser on the bridge. Remember?
Yeah.
I don't know why. That was strange. Seems like the writers had the Phantom Zone idea, but couldn't make the story work. Yeah, that's what I thought. First thing I thought there was the Phantom Zone, even back then when I first saw it. Interesting to see. Superman fans will know that one. Interesting to see the actors portray radically different people, but still Sirtis is still unlikable.
Mm-hmm.
No, I can't. No, I can't. It sounds like you've got at least 2 or 3 people in there already. Ghostbusters line reference. Thank you so much, buddy. Appreciate you. And are we up to speed on the chat? I think we're good now, huh? We're ready to go for our next episode. Who's ready for the next episode?
Dun, 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 dun.
Are we?
We are.
Okie dokie. Let's see here. Man, it's getting cold in here. Ready for ethics, right?
We are ready for ethics. Ethics is season 5, episode 16. We all watched this for the first time. Well, most of us did anyway. On February 24th, 1992. Let's keep copyright compliant, shall we? I'm going to be reading excerpts from Star Trek 365, The Next Generation, written by Paula M. Block. Please turn your Star Trek hymnal to page 245. Paralyzed after an accident, Worf would prefer to commit ritual suicide than to live with only partial mobility. But when he realizes that Klingon customs dictate that his young son must assist in the ceremony, Worf chooses to accept the dangerous surgical operation offered by the neurospecialist whom Dr. Crusher considers to be unethical, despite the very real chance that the untried technique might kill him. I hated working on ethics, growls writer Ron Moore. Hated everything about it. I wasn't a big fan of doing medical shows to begin with, and that particular one had a ton of medical jargon and technology and medical ethics. Ooh, you mean science fiction? Oh, TMF, did you see that one? Let me just star that so we don't lose it. Oh, there it is. Okay, medical ethics. The only thing I found interesting was that Worf wanted to die, but there was a whole internal fight about euthanasia and what the show was trying to say and how it could be interpreted, that it's not honorable to live with a disability. And I said that wouldn't matter to Worf. He wouldn't want to live like that. He's a Klingon, and a Klingon would want to be killed. But while Moore couldn't wait to move on to the next episode, visual effects supervisor Dan Curry was inspired by it. With a fine arts degree from Middlebury College, Curry worked for a time as a biomedical illustrator before breaking into the entertainment industry. During his lengthy career on various Star Trek series, Curry enjoyed the ever-deepening analysis of the Klingon culture and anthropology conducted by the franchise's writers. There were frequent references about Klingon anatomy in these scripts, such as the number of ribs, which I concluded would have to have been a lattice design to fit them all in, and provide strong protection for internal organs, he explains. I also considered a more protective clavicle, redundant bones in the upper arms and legs, and so forth. These alien anatomical features had to fit within the human body. Recalling his earlier career as an illustrator, Curry created a unique Klingon portrait. I was thinking John Singer Sargent, an American artist of the late 19th to early 20th century, known for his realistic portraits, meets Andreas Vesalius. I never know. Okay, here we go. And the 14th century anatomist, physician considered the founder of human anatomy, explains Curry. The result was this painting, The Visible Klingon, an 18 by 24-inch piece done in oil on gator board. After some discussions with Michael Westmore, Curry added a horn to the foot, explaining, he says, why Klingons never developed soccer. So that was definitely not written for the ear. It was written for the eye. But what did you think of the coverage? And what did you think of the episode?
Well, it sounds like he doesn't like science fiction very much, I guess, old Moore.
Yeah, he's I can't believe that he just said that. That's actually very shocking that he said that, because this is a triumphant return to science fiction, and we're dealing with
Yes.
technology and the advancement of technology, and that's what science fiction does. Science fiction helps us grapple with future forward, futurism, how we're going to deal with technology, how we're going to deal with the science of the new frontier, and how society is going to cope with that, and what effect that's going to have on human beings. So
Yes.
yeah, these are shocking statements, I think.
This is Trek.
Yeah, this is real talk.
This is something that Trek is supposed to be doing, creating conversation about the future,
Yeah.
and about the ethics of science.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought this one. I always thought this episode does that very well. It's a certain some even look. And you know what? Let's talk about Troy for a second. It's Comic Relief Crusader. Good to see you.
Hey, Comic Relief Crusader, welcome.
When you let her just be a normal person who's a counselor in an episode, she can be decent in an episode. You can make fun of her all you want, and here she serves purpose. You know, the whole stuff with her and Alexander and all that kind of stuff. And she's not doing anything gimmicky. She's not possessed. She's not using her stupid superpowers in some dumbass way. She's being there to be Worf's friend and be supportive and being in the
She's
being
doing her
in the
job
mix.
as Gene Roddenberry told her to. Like, this is the
Right.
way Gene Roddenberry wrote the character, and that's why it's successful. She's supposed to be a future version of what we would consider a psychologist slash psychiatrist. So
Right.
she's supposed to even be able to write prescriptions, and she is supposed to aid only the bridge crew, and she's supposed to be, they're like their attaché to help them navigate all of their difficulties, their shortcomings, their fears, their PTSD, all of it. So she's finally doing what she's supposed to do.
This episode is so well written for me because it makes you uncomfortable. You want to easily want to jump on the side of Hillary Clinton there because she's helping everyone, wants to cure Worf and all that stuff. On the other hand, Beverly makes very valid, solid points. And by the end, at least for me, I'm not comfortable about what's going on to either side. We're glad Worf is going to be okay. And some of the things Beverly tells her, kind of work. Kind of is true.
Mm-hmm.
But so this episode leaves you asking questions and wondering, and it does what Star Trek does best. It makes you think. And it's a good, it's a good, drama. It's not a medical episode. It's not a medical episode. It just shows what you are. That you're calling it a medical episode, Ron Moore. Yeah, it dealt with a medical issue and medical technology, but this isn't Trapper John MD.
No, those are dingbat comments. That only a dingbat would say that. It's like obviously he never either read the script or he didn't watch what happened, what came out on the other end of it.
Also shows that even when written well, Riker could be integral to a story. Though when Worf asks him, and this is a really good scene even between Riker and Picard when he goes to Picard telling him, he doesn't want to do it. The whole thing is well written and it's tense and there are no easy answers and it makes you uneasy. It makes you question, and it's perfectly titled Ethics. So I found this thing fascinating, and I found it to be what Star Trek is supposed to be doing.
I totally agree. I think it's absolutely excellent. And I think you might have been away from the computer for a second. But our wonderful TMF, if you go to the Start tab, you'll see that he left a gift for you.
I saw it, but I didn't want to interrupt you. So.
No, you go ahead. Our wonderful friend, what a wonderful gift to give you.
You were too kind, Toxic Man Flu, buddy. Thank you so much. Spock's brain is the greatest original series COS episode ever written. Whoa, I was possessed by the ghost of Jonathan Frakes. A talent for a ghost of Jonathan Frakes' talent for a bit. Well, we forgive you for being possessed. It happens every day on the Enterprise.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, TMF. You're too kind.
Yeah, he's a sweetheart of a man. And thank you, Mrs. TMF, too.
Indeed, Mrs. T. Oh, hail me, Mrs. TMF. But yes, this is solid stuff. This is a quiet story, not full of gimmicks or silly B stories or any of that kind of stuff. That just kind of what they should be, more what they should be doing on a Star Trek show.
Absolutely,
in my opinion.
Absolutely, I 100% agree. 100%.
And what's his face? Oh, go ahead go over your notes. By the way, what's his face? Roger. What's his name? Not Roger. Ron Moore is a moron. Roger Moore's
Yeah,
great.
yeah, and there are lots of really very strange reviews of this episode online, and I don't know. I think some people are trolling. Anyway, these are my notes. This is an extremely distressing topic for some people. People who don't want to live due to disability or disease, and also the issue of medical trials. This is a difficult topic, but an excellent one for science fiction. We face difficult choices because of science and medical technology. Many of us will be forced into life and death decisions with our families and our doctors. We can often be asked by loved ones to make these types of decisions on their behalf. Think of things like a do not resuscitate order, etc. This episode is brave and expertly executed, arguing from both sides, both fairly and passionately. There are a lot of people like Worf, and it's difficult to navigate. Stories like this help us to work through these differences and these decisions and all of this fear. This story helps us to know that we're not alone once we get to places like this. It is a terrifying and painful experience for those of us who have had to face this. Interrogating physicians and honoring last wishes we have no control over. I bawled my eyes out in 1992. So I have had to face similar requests in my life. I don't want to talk about personal things on the internet, but many of you out there have had to deal with this in real life, and we don't agree on this, and we all eventually have to face this situation or face it multiple times. And it is about medical technology. It's about medicine and how far we can take medicine and how far we can take surgery and how far we can take medical advice. And even when medical advice intrudes on things we believe and things we want for ourselves. And a lot of us have had to face this, and a lot of us will face this in our lives. And this idea of how far you want to take your life and how technology and medicine alters those decisions. So this is very cerebral. I think it's very well done, properly executed, well wrought teleplay. I think it's just very, very good Star Trek, and it comes roaring back with a straight science fiction. So very enjoyable. And Boss Man, for those reasons, I give this episode an A.
Well, there you go. I too give it an A because it made me. It did something that Star Trek should do to us every once in a while: shake you up, make you uncomfortable. Uh, again, you it doesn't let you off the hook with Worf's happy ending that he's going to be okay because it has the final confrontation between Beverly and Hillary. I call her that. Sorry, she just looks like.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's yeah, I mean Beverly raises some concerns. I mean, she's glad Worf's going to be okay, but some of the stuff she said to that doctor isn't wrong, or is it? I mean, some may think it was, some may think it wasn't. But Star Trek's not always about the comfortable answer, and nor it should be, because you're talking about something that is is really in the context of that science fiction. It's a very important issue to be sorted out, and I just thought that's again I think so Star Trek does well,
Yeah.
should do when it's doing it well. I don't know how the adults got into the writers' room to do this one,
Yeah.
but they did.
Yeah, and it's marvelous. You can watch this episode, and it can give you so much comfort as a human being. That if you've ever faced a type of injury or a catastrophic illness, or even if your parents or your grandparents are aged, and you have to make these decisions, this episode lets you know that there likely will not be a consensus, uh, no matter what you choose from everyone around you. And people will argue passionately, and people will be very upset, and people will be frightened. And this is a part of life. These life or death decisions, they're a part of life. We eventually have to face them, and it's really scary. and the role that physicians and technology and medicine play in our lives have complicated that decision making. And yeah, what a triumph this episode is, especially given the last two suck episodes.
Got some Steves piling in here. Hello there, Canadian Spider-Man. Good to see you, Spidey.
Oh, and Simply Steve.
And Simply Steve. Steve, we're on the episode Ethics right now. And it's good to see you, my friend. Always a pleasure to have you pop in, buddy. So,
These are the Steves I know. These are the Steves I know. If you're wondering why is she singing so poorly, that is a Canadian joke that the Canadian Steves like me to tell on a regular basis. Think, these are the Daves I know. These are the Daves I know.
They love it when you do that, so you're not singing poorly at all. You're failing at singing poorly there. So number one, we have given it our rating. Now I will ask, how you go for an A? I got an A. Now, our friends in the chat, please put forth your review and any comments you may have about ethics. Go.
The word is given. Fire at will, everyone. Put up those reviews. Give us your grade and give us some brief comments. And it will be our pleasure to marquee them and read them.
Yep, we'll get a few of them collected up here and we'll get rolling. There we go. We'll get a few of these collected up. All righty then. All righty. Now, mornings are popping in there. I will start. We have first up our wonderful friend, Sandra Feliciano, says, A, from a medical standpoint, the grief of functional loss can lead anyone to want to die. It's unethical to experiment on people without disclosure and consent. He, not another, chose his risk. Right. He did choose it. And that's the key element there. That's a key point there, Sandra. JT Kirk says, A, top 20, a bottle episode ethics is a great TNG episode that doesn't lean on anything but a solid script to deliver something special to the audience. Well said, JT, but more to follow. And this episode illustrates what happens when someone doesn't call an attorney and get a medical proxy and parent and parental guardianship resolved. Riker talks of all the dead, yet no one made Mr. Woof a will. There you go. What can I tell you? Number one, we have the great enigmatic drop bear. If you would kindly do the honors.
All right, let's do it. Enigmatic drop bear, the erudite bear, one of my favorite bears. He's got a three-parter here. He says this one is an A+. You gambled, he won, is a great line. The Genetronic replicator had a 37% success rate, with failure resulting in the patient's death. Oh, sorry. It's doing that thing it does again. Oh, I'm trying to tag things. Sorry. 2 of 3. This episode succeeded in creating a conversation about assisted dying, the role of practitioners, family, and close friends, and experimental medical procedures. Yes, I wholeheartedly agree. 3 of 3. The story avoided didacticisms. It most certainly did. And when you treat the audience like grown-ups by not resorting to didacticism, it is marvelous. And I love you for bringing that up, Enigmatic Drop Bear. Conclusions remained ambiguous, encouraging the audience to reflect on various factors in play to form their own conclusions. And This is what any good argument and any good author does. If you want to challenge the audience and elicit a response like that, you have to engage the Socratic dialectic. You have to give people all of the evidence and let them choose for themselves. Respect the audience. Let it transpire in their minds, in their hearts, in their heads. This is how you win them over and create great television. So excellent, excellent review. Love, love, love. Thank you so much, sir.
Indeed. Well done, ED, as always. Wolfie says, 1 of 1, A-. Yeep. Yeep, yape. I'm not sure what that means. Yeep, is that a yep, a yeep, a yep? I don't know.
Yep.
Trek,
I think it's yep.
There you go. There you go. Well, Trek needs to kick you right in the over-redundant unmentionables every now and then. Mr. Woof is still a terrible father, but seems to improve at the end of this ordeal.
Oh, I
Well,
love
there
that
you
he
go.
said that
Yeah.
about being the terrible father. He does stink as a dad. He's
Yeah,
he's a
he's working on it.
horrible dad.
He's a crappy dad. Yeah. But, I think we all are when we first start out. Um, Eric Carroll says, I didn't like seeing Worf humiliated, so I'll give it a B. Fair enough.
Oh,
I got you.
a nice thing to say. That means he really cares about the character. That's
There you
wonderful.
go. Worf fan there.
Yeah.
Phantom Outsider says B, but ethics basically exposes the hypocrisy of some on board the ship. Who was the chief medical officer who signed off on the crew being part of the Soliton Wave experiment? Soliton Wave? That was a different episode, but hang on. Hang on, Phantom. Let me find your other one. Soliton Wave was a different one, but okay. Last week, actually, right? So the Worf story was fine. It was the false moral superiority of Dr. Crusher I have a problem with. Thought they understood and accepted other cultures. Apparently not. Let's see here. How many times did one of her son's experiments put the crew at risk? Also, is it me, or do some Klingon rituals seem to favor dry cleaner lobby wipe off your sleeve? Why dead guy right there? Well, I understand some of your concerns about double standards and inconsistencies and hypocrisy in Trek, but that's due to a million writers. And not only just all those different writers, a million writers contradicting each other all the time.
Yes.
Snorty. So you're not going to get a lot of consistency with a situation like that. Cardinal Sen with the $20 super chat. Thank you so much, my friend. You were too kind.
That's so sweet. Thank you so much.
It says, "Oh, Mazel Tov, Klobby. By the way, on your 1,000 show milestone. Thank you so much for that.
So
Thank you, my
kind.
friend. I appreciate you. You were too kind. Yep, we got past the old 1,000 mark after it only took 13 years. Snorty says, A, the ethics of medical experimentation and assisted suicide are showcased, but slightly marred by a strange MacGuffin leading to the situation. Quibble 1, why is cargo never secured? Because then it won't fall on people.
Yes.
And we can't have a story. Quibble 2, apparently, when you are the sole representative of a species serving in Starfleet, you won't bother learning much about the finer points of your physiology. Well, Klingons don't like being operated. They don't like, they'd rather die than a lot of things. So
that is correct. That is why it is explained in the episode. That is why.
It's explained in the episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, they explain it, Snorty, by talking about how Klingons really think, the slightest little thing happened to you, they say, go ahead and die. They don't try to prolong life if it's not the way they think a life should be.
Yeah,
and that's the episode. Hence the title of the episode, Ethics. There,
what's really scary is that in real life there are people like that, and they may be in your family. They could be your best friend, and when you are called upon to and you're called to the carpet and they want to have their wishes completed, it can be a terrifying thing.
Indeed. Troy is actually functioning as an effective counselor. I'm gobsmacked. And Dr. Crusher is well written for a change. Good acting by Brian Bonsell. Again, there's the thing, Snorty. Since a million different people write every damn episode, every season, that's why you have wildly inconsistent characterization on this show all of the time.
That little Brian Bonsall, though, wow! When they said, when the whole production said that this little young man absolutely loved being a Klingon, you can certainly tell. He brings such a great performance here. He's like a little man. He's just absolutely, completely immersed in the character. He's a darling little boy. And he should be so proud of this performance. What a great kid. Just so smart and wonderful.
Indeedishness. Toxic Manflu says A- for real, I think it means minus, for real science fiction and the fight for dignity and autonomy over your own body.
Yeah.
Counselor Camel Toe disappears for an episode.
Yes.
And and again, because the writers decided to write her like adults and write her like an adult, which they often don't.
Yeah.
B says the great Lord Thoth LT says the struggle was real. I have faced this decision as the eldest son of my family, and the veteran alpha male. This one was a good episode. There you go.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Clobby, Captain, I beg your pardon. Please excuse me. A world made of cardboard has materialized in the chat and has left you a gift.
Hey there, a world made of cardboard. Good to see you. Let me see here. Let me find that. Oh, thank you so much, my friend, for the $10 super chat. You are too kind. It is good to see you from my neck of the woods. I know that, or at least used to be here. In the vein of cargo not strapped down, what happened to fuses in the 24th century? I don't know. You get a power surge and a whole computer panel explodes. Still love the show, though. Yeah, fuses. I don't know how that works anymore. But thank you for that review and thank you for that super chat. But I hear what you're saying. Absolutely. Let's see here. Pleasant Valley Picker says, I vaguely remember a lot of this one, but do remember maybe okay. But do remember Worf being traumatized dealing with his injury.
Yeah.
Saw a doctor today as been having severe nosebleeds. Oh my goodness. Feeling sensitive on health. Great. A, so he likes this one. Well, I hope that turns out to be nothing and you turn out to start feeling much better.
Yeah.
A Pleasant Valley. Best wishes to you, my friend, on that.
Yeah.
Get well. Get well soon, please. Michael Beacom says, A, hail science fiction, exploring real-life concepts through fictional scenarios. This is what this show was meant to do. And B, real stakes, tough decisions, no easy answer. Trek at its best. Good point.
Guess who just walked through the door?
Who?
Scuba P! And family!
And who? Oh,
And
Leslie.
family.
Oh, the whole family's with him. Wow. Let's get out of there. Scuba, what's up, buddy?
Scuba! I love you.
Scuba. I bet he was out doing Valentine-y stuff.
Oh, he would. He has a hot wife. They're a smoking hot couple. They're the cutest people ever, and I hope they had a wonderful romantic weekend.
Well, he better behave. In that case, he better be behaving himself then. An A from Raymond. Thank you, Raymond. Mega Cropper gives it a B plus. Thank you, Mega. Appreciate you. Dadman Walking goes for a B plus. This dealt with a difficult topic in a mature and thoughtful way. Well written and acted. On a lighter note, the surgical suits left me thinking of it was technology. Left me thinking of it, or maybe just thinking it was technology meets the Teletubbies. Okay. Mr. Angel, the chef says, A plus. The wounded warrior that thinks he has no value left it's telling of the Klingon culture. It's telling of the Klingon culture. And the clash with the Federation ethics, TNG at its best.
Mm-hmm.
The Klingon culture and the clash of the Federation. Sorry if I messed that up, dude. I was going too fast. Sorry. A very brave episode at its time.
Yeah, Chef, and the thing I love the most about it is that it leaves you unsettled and it lets you know that you're never going to have that consensus. No one is ever going to say to you, you're making the right decision, or you did the right thing, or I'm right, you're wrong. It leaves you knowing that when you have to face that decision in real life, it's not going to be easy, and you're going to face opposition no matter what you believe. And that is, I think, what makes it so courageous. So excellent reflections and comments, Chef. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Chef. Appreciate you, sir. A from Mr. Tickle Trunk. How you doing, sir? I hope you're doing well, Mr. Tickle Trunk. Not only did Raquel take the words right out of my hands, but she did it ever so much more eloquently, yet with far less jokes about forehead, butts, and Uranus fun.
I love
we
you,
never
Mr.
get tired of those.
Trunk.
So you're, but Mr. Tickle Trunk, thank you so much. The great Kal-El says, A, although the way that Worf was injured was dumb, does Starfleet even have OSHA? No. I find the ethical debates that the episode explored to be very well done, from the doctor who takes surgery rather than oh, sorry.
It's a 2 out of 3. Yeah, there it is.
Takes chances with experimental methods to Worf wanting to end his life honorably by Klingon standards. Both were handled very well. Worf deciding to take the risk with the experimental surgery rather than subject his son to a Klingon ceremony that he wasn't ready for was very admirable.
Yes.
This is one of the finest episodes of the series and a great example of real Star Trek.
Oh, you just gave me shivers. I love you so much, Kal-El.
Yes, it's what Trek's supposed to be doing. However, James Caserta says it doesn't rate. So I gather James doesn't like the episode. I can't really see all the chat going on there, James. I'll take it as either that you may not be a fan of that episode, but thank you so much. Appreciate you, James. I'll rate it again. A, solid A. So we got a second. Did he not rate it before? I thought we read a review of his before.
Whenever I see a
Pleasant
review,
Valley. No, we
did.
We did get Pleasant Valley, but he rated it again anyway. That's fine.
Yeah, but he rated it again anyway. Yeah.
No problem. No problem. United X Amanda Bear says, I give it a C. I hate when the plot has that thing where someone is sick or crippled and nobody can help because they have to do it for themselves, or when there's a cure, but the patient won't take it. But he did take it. But thank you, Nurat.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Thank you for your review there. Scuba Pete said, B, didn't mean to barrel right in on the episode. No, yada, it's great to see you, dude.
Those are some choice dad puns. Love you, Scuba.
Oh, man. Dude. Your agonizer, please. No, I'm kidding. It was great.
Love Scuba Pete.
World Man of Cardboard says, I remember seeing this episode when it first aired. I think it means it was a fine episode, well written and well acted.
Yep,
yes,
it's true.
Indeedishness. And we're still waiting on our engineer.
Mm-hmm.
I think we'll wait for it though.
We are.
Unless something happened to him. Bum, bum.
I hope he's locked in a romantic embrace with his incredibly cute wife, and I hope they're having a romantic weekend.
Let's see here. Well, I hope. But did he give one earlier?
Rolling.
Ooh, I'm driving my own life away. Let's see. I guess if he pops it in later, we'll.
He says, I wish.
Well, I haven't seen your review yet, dude. So we were just curious.
Where's your review, Mark?
Maybe he didn't have a review on this one.
Oh, maybe that's okay. Oh no, here it comes, boss man.
There we go.
Check your files.
Crusher would have rather. Okay. Oh, there we go. James says Crusher would have rather Worf killed himself. Oh my goodness. Well, who wouldn't? No, I'm just kidding. A from Mark Adia with a C. Most important question of this episode: does Geordi cheat at cards? But seriously, this episode deals with the most difficult of decisions: death versus prolonged medical treatment.
Kate, I would just like to say before we go any further, I totally agree, Mark, because that is bad form. You should never, ever, ever do that. And if you do that, I will never play with you, especially when I'm playing Texas Hold'em. If you're going to call someone and you're going to call someone's bluff, you should not look at people's cards. You should not do that. I don't know why Geordi does that, but Geordi needs a kick in the shin.
Didn't he do it afterwards?
He does it afterwards, but it doesn't matter because it reveals the person's strategy. You should never look at the cards, like ever, for 5-card stud, for Texas Hold'em. You should not be looking at other people's cards. I totally agree, Mark. He deserves some shin kicks. Serious shin kicks.
Okay. I forgot about that, but yes, now I remember what you're talking about here. Where were okay? Too many of us have had to confront that tough choice. There isn't much worse. Yeah. Interesting that Picard is sympathetic to Worf's desires and cultural beliefs.
Yeah,
he usually kind of goes that way on stuff. Worf. when a Klingon can no longer stand and face his enemies as a warrior because we don't like being probed, when he becomes a burden to his friends and family, it is time for the headbutt or whatever, the headbutt or whatever.
It's the
Time for him
headbutt. It's when
the
you take
headbutt.
your
Time
armadillo
for
and you smash it into another armadillo, and both of the armadillos are on your face.
there you go. I knew it. I knew it was something like that. Time for him to die. I am Klingon. I will not listen to reason. Hopefully, paralysis is on its way to being cured. I was just reading about this tech, similar to what Crusher was explaining, would be a partial cure. So there you go.
Yeah, especially when you think of Christopher Reeve.
Yeah.
Like
Hopefully we'll get
it's a
there
very,
someday.
very, very, very touching. And yes, and Mark, like I said, I don't want to get into it and discuss private matters, but yeah, for those of us who have had to face very similar decisions, it is difficult. LT and I are right there with you, and probably many, many people in our audience. It's a part of life. We hate talking about it. We hate doing it, and it is incredibly scary. And yet we're all going to face it. So beautiful comments, Mark, my wonderful friend. Really appreciate it.
Indeedishness. Well, are we ready to move on to our final episode of the evening?
We ready.
All right, final episode of the evening, folks, is the Outcast, and I'll just tell you that before we get moving on, while you're doing that, I have to turn the heater on because it's freezing here.
Okay, honey.
So I'll be right back. Go for it. I'll be right back.
Oh, boss man.
Yeah.
We have something from.
Hello there. B minus. Interesting time. Interesting themes. Also a good watch when they flesh out other species, cultures, whether good, bad compared to ours. Thank you.
Nice.
I gotta find that one. Oh, there it is. Oh,
yep.
Okay.
Good.
Number one.
Okay. All right. So we're gonna while Clubby goes and turns on his heat because he's freezing and we don't want to frozen Clawboni.
I gotta put on a coat.
Yeah, you go ahead and put on your middies and your toque. Do you have a toque?
I don't know.
I'm going to read to you folks The Outcast. This is season 5, episode 17. We all watched this. Well, most of us watched this for the first time on March 16th, 1992. Let's stay copyright compliant, shall we? I'm going to be reading from excerpts from Star Trek 365, The Next Generation, written by Paula M. Block. Please turn your hymnal to page 246, where I will read extemporaneously. When the androgynous Janai species ask for the Enterprise's aid in locating a missing shuttle, Riker finds himself working with Soren, and not that Soren, a Janai pilot. The pair pass the time by comparing their respective cultures. Soren explains that the Janai are forbidden to engage in gender-specific relations and never publicly identify themselves as either male or female. Those that do express sexual preference are captured and brainwashed into healthy attitudes. But Soren admits that she has always felt female and is, in fact, attracted to Riker. The Outcast allowed us to examine the issue of sexual intolerance in a unique and offbeat way, Jerry Taylor says. I identify with the disenfranchised and the powerless of our world, so I really wanted to make a statement for tolerance, broad-mindedness, and acceptance of those who are disenfranchised. Not everyone in the audience shared Taylor's feeling, which didn't really surprise the producers. The episode was crafted to demonstrate the injustice of certain social, sexual attitudes prevalent in the 20th century society. They figured that was likely to irk viewers who liked their social sexual attitudes the way they were. Thank you. But while they did get some complaints from social conservatives, they got more complaints from members of the gay community who complained that the episode hadn't gone far enough and that it couched the question of sexual orientation in a way that heterosexuals easily could think was about heterosexuality.
according to a 2001 Salon.com article titled Gay Trek. The most contentious issue was Soren's statement that on Janai, some have strong inclinations for maleness, some have urges to be female. In our world, those feelings are forbidden. There was no mention of those with urges to be female being attracted to other females, or the male inclined being drawn to males. There was no mention of homosexuality at all. Although Soren's speech goes on to describe the need to lead secret and guarded lives, gay viewers thought the producers felt the need to slink around the allegory. Well, it's easy to understand the controversy. It's impossible to address it 20 years on. The series attempted, in the typically broad way that Star Trek has utilized since its very beginnings, to address a social injustice by putting it in alien drag, so to speak. When we deal with an issue, we have to find an oblique way of addressing it, incorporating a science fiction element that turns it on its ear, explains Taylor. The Outcast succeeded in that way for most of the audience. It is still the episode of which I am most proud. And that is all the blog text has to say about the Outcast. Captain, if you have returned and you are wearing
I'm back.
your toque, please tell me, what did you think of the blog text coverage and what did you think of the episode?
I don't know what
what the heck is that?
I don't know what a
That was
toque.
odd.
Did you
That's
say a
not
toque?
odd. Yes, a toque.
I don't know what that is.
I'll send you one.
I still don't know what it is. Well, I don't know. I just had to put some. It was got cold in here, but it's not a. I don't know what to call it, but it's a hoodie. It's a hoodie.
It's a hoodie.
It's a hoodie. Now, this episode is always. I mean, I really applaud what they were trying to do with it. It's. I've never really. I don't know. How do they? I'm not sure how you tell this story well, or how you do it right. You had to wrap the Riker romance thing in there again. The falling in love in 5 minutes thing doesn't work. I don't care what gender or anything you are, and it's always that kind of thing seems always like something of a mistake to me. The allegory they use here, I don't know if it works, but obviously anyone can relate to what they're saying, the message. But it is about a message, and that's okay because Trek can do messaging without being super political. And I know it was very controversial at the time. Not with me. I just not so sure. I thought it was particularly well done. It was an interesting idea. Trek should deal with tough ideas. Nothing wrong with that. But it never really was. I found it that convincing. If you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, I don't think the execution was that great personally
Mm-hmm.
on this episode. And I love that actress. Someone mentioned the other day that reminded me. It's our engineer reminded me of the young lady from the A-Team.
Yeah, Melinda Kulia, I think her name is.
Yeah, but I don't know. I never had a strong feeling for it one way or the other. I appreciate what they're trying to do and give them points for it. The
Mm-hmm.
Star Trek should deal with things like that,
Mm-hmm.
and I agree with obviously with their message, but I don't know. I guess you don't have. It wasn't given enough time to breathe really the story, and do you really like that analogy that they're just basically they're genderless? In other words, they're trying to flip things around a little and say that everyone. I don't know. Would a race this advanced be doing this?
Mm-hmm.
I guess I have to wonder. That's another problem I have with it. It's not like they landed on a planet that was 21st, that was like our 20th and 21st century either. They were very advanced themselves. I don't know. There's a very disturbing questions this thing deals with. I don't know if it deals with as well as something like ethics deals with its problems, but maybe that's just me.
Well, no, I think you're totally right. I think that in 1992, I thought it was a brave show. And,
yes, it was. It was brave.
Yeah, and as early as 1986, Gene Roddenberry was saying that he wanted to have an openly gay character. The problem was that every time someone came forward with an openly gay character, they were patronizing the gay character. And he made it very clear that he wanted gay characters that were like perfectly like the way Gene Roddenberry expressed it was that there was nothing special about it. It was so integrated in society, so normal in society. There was nothing special about it. So we were just going to treat them equally as though this was a natural and normal thing. And apparently, according to Gene Roddenberry, no one put that in front of him, despite him asking as early as 1986 when he was giving interviews and saying, "Yeah, it's time. I want to do this, and we're allowed to do this now." So, um, obviously, by March 16th, Gene had passed on. And I thought that this, when I was watching it in 1992, I thought it was a tremendously brave episode.
Yeah.
And the mixed reviews I find a little shocking. But, I think that that's the nature of this type of storytelling, though. I think this storytelling, it elicits very, very strong reactions, very strong thoughts. And so you're going to have people who love it, you're going to have people who aren't sure how they feel about it, and you're going to have people who hate it. And so,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I think hello there. Arabic Sandar said anti-derivative Jill sent you. Well, hello. I hope I said that okay. It's not Arabic
Hey!
Arabic Sandar. I don't know if I said that right, but welcome. No, it's just that I think that for their analogy to be a race that using the gender, which would basically, and I understand that you couldn't just make it about gays and straight or whatever, using gender to be like a planet where people don't like. I mean, actually, maybe it works more today than back then for a different reason.
Yeah. That
So
was my feeling watching it now. I mean, back in 1992, I definitely felt as though it was creating a space to talk about the difference between viewing yourself as somebody who just sees the exterior as a container. And so, we've explored that before, and certainly this isn't the first time that Star Trek has addressed things. We had the first transgender episode with Beverly experiencing what it was like to be with a Trill who is in 3 different bodies within the space of 1 or 2 days. Very
right,
and so we're able to discuss that issue now. But yeah, yeah, for me, I think this episode feels and reads differently today than it did back
I
then.
was going to say because just like you were saying back then, I really liked it a lot more than. I'm not saying I don't like it now or like it less. I'm saying my reaction was very positive towards it, and I really thought
Yeah.
this is something that Star Trek should be doing, and I still think it is. And now because we've had 30 some odd years under the bridge, water coming under the bridge, I'm like, it feels a little bit differently because again, the whole Riker falling in love that quickly stuff is that's kind of gets on my nerves no matter what story it's in. That a
Yeah.
little bit, but you got to kind of push that aside, and just the fact that now the more I've thought of it over the years, now that I've seen it a couple times, I'm like, I know that I'm going to be fair to them here. That what other analogy could they have possibly used? They had to come up with the best one that they could, and this is what they went with: the gender. They, in other words, being the gender analogy, just being an analogy for gay, for the gay, what they were talking about with the gay agenda, or with gay rights and things like that, which was hell of a lot more relevant back then. And I don't know. I really liked it back then. Today I see it and I go, maybe they could have handled it better.
Hmm.
I don't know, but I don't know how you would have done it right. I don't have an answer, so that's why I'm all over the place with this. I don't have an
Well,
answer
I'm
with
all
how
over
you
the
would have
place with
handled
it
it.
too because you're one of the first people I've ever met in my life who doesn't try and stay the same. And when I say that, it's just, people always say to one another, "Oh, you've changed." And the thing is that if you're an intelligent person, you're seeking edification in your life, you're seeking to grow as a person. You're never the same. And
Yeah,
so I would hope that anyone who considers themselves a relatively intelligent human being would not be the same person they are today as they were in 1992. And so, when we first started doing this, started talking about the episodes, one thing that I really loved, and it's one of the things that helped me to realize you're my Star Trek soulmate, is that you said, Raquel, there's going to be some times where I'm going to rate something one way, and a few years later, I'm going to rate it differently. It could even be a year later. And then I jumped in and interrupted you, and I said, "Well, yeah, certainly. You've grown. You're different. The world's different. You feel different. Everything has changed. So of course, your reading is going to be different." And that helped to cement my friendship feelings for you and my affinity for you. And so, yeah, I like that you're honest about that. I'm not the same person I was in 1992. And one would
No.
have to live a very, very small and very sheltered life to remain stagnant, to remain the same person they are. So, yeah,
I
I
hear you.
read you loud and clear.
Well, I think we should continue to laud that laud the episode for the how courageous it was back then. Though I will
Yeah,
maintain that, and I'll simply say that um, the whole I guess from a science fiction standpoint, I do have a bit of a question, and even I thought about it a little bit even back then, but now probably more so that here you have a race or a civilization with that is as almost pretty much as advanced as the Federation is.
hmm
Would they still be having this kind of this kind of hive mind mentality society, this kind of totalitarian society? Would they still? I mean, wouldn't exploring this kind of prejudice that they're trying to explore may have worked in some other type of story? I don't know.
yeah. But in some ways, though, it told the future.
Yeah,
In some aspects, it told the future.
I give it a lot of credit though, because this what it was that was extreme. You still can't. You have to view it somewhat through the prism of 1992, whatever it was,
You
and
do,
it
yeah,
was very very courageous at the
yes.
time. So
But pushing that idea that there can be no gender, or perhaps that some people think that there shouldn't be any gender at all, that's an issue that we're facing today,
yeah,
and
that's true.
there are some people who are super passionate about it. So, yeah.
That's true. So you have notes, of course.
I do have notes.
Go for it.
I put in my notes, and of course, let me put this into context. I've been rewatching Star Trek in chronological order since it has been possible, and so my contribution to the show is not a formal review, but to my written notes as I watch the show, and then we play off one another as we discuss it. So my notes are written in pencil on a piece of paper, and this is what I wrote. This is the forced non binary episode that explores the total absence of gender. Gender is forbidden by law. Preferred gender is ridiculed and violently purged. I don't believe that the Decker unit has a monogamous bone in his body. We were talking about this 29 years ago. So this idea of this forced non-binary episode that explores the total absence of gender. Gender is forbidden by law. Preferred gender is ridiculed and violently purged. This was happening 29 years ago. So when you're talking about the Dreckers and you're talking about the filth, it's important to remember this was 29 years ago. I think that this episode has aged well, and it has some messages that maybe some people should consider. That we should, be all open and have open hearts and be sincere. And I have no further comments on this episode.
Just sitting here talking about it like this and really makes me admire it a little bit more because the fact that I am uncomfortable. You're supposed to be uncomfortable after watching this episode.
Yep.
And if you suspend some of the things I have that changed over the last 30 years, what this episode is trying to say is powerful and is very Star Trek.
It is,
I would
because
just
it's
like to
getting
say,
into fundamentalism. It's asking you, like, how far do you want to push your idea, and how far are you willing to take those ideas, those beliefs, those cultural things that you uphold in your society. So it's really getting at fundamentalism and asking if you support fundamentalism, and it doesn't decide for you. This episode is not deciding for you, but it certainly is telling you that you need to think about it.
yes, it does. It works as thoughtful, thought provoking Star Trek.
Yep.
I guess it's just that since it's something that was so close to really close to reality at the time, and now it is in a different way. I guess it's just a little bit jarring when you watch it again.
It is. Like
But I
for
do
me, I was
admire it.
like, oh my goodness. Especially when it got to the pronoun part. What should I call you? Should I call you it? And so,
Yeah, especially that conversation, right? Yeah, that was.
yeah, like, and this is 29 years ago, and I know that the people who like the filth, they like the new stuff. They think that they're breaking ground, and that they're just that that it's a new thing that they're doing. But this was 29 years ago, and some of it is it's almost mirroring the conversations people are having today on social media, and not always in a good way. Some of these conversations have been very violent both ways,
Right.
verbally violent, emotionally violent, psychologically violent, and it gets into this hegemony where people are fighting over what gender is, and should gender be forbidden by law? And can you ridicule preferred gender? And so on and so forth. So this is a very complicated, very very provocative episode that is willing to elicit a lot of emotion from both sides and from folks in the middle. This is dangerous. This is a stick of dynamite in our time.
Very, yes.
It's
And it's very
that
Star Trek. I guess that's what Star Trek needs to be doing.
it is. It is. And enigmatic dropper, you're getting at what I'm getting at, and I don't want to offend anyone, which is why I'm being very careful in how I'm phrasing what I'm saying. But yes, enigmatic dropper says that that was a discussion about personal pronouns before it was even a thing, and this is just it.
Yeah, 30 years before it was a thing. Just about
Yeah,
40,
and
45 years.
yeah, and I like that. I kind of like that it uses that hegemony, that the idea of what is culturally dominant, and I just think it's very very well done. And like I said, I don't really want to discuss it further because I think that there are a lot of people who are incredibly sensitive about this idea of forced non-binary
Right.
and gender being forbidden by law, and the flip side of that, uh, as it was in 1992. So this is a giant old stick of dynamite. It might actually be a truckload of dynamite that I don't want to touch with a 10-foot pole. But I do think this is This is must watch Star Trek, and I think this episode has aged well because of its maturity and a bit of being able to predict the future, or at least predict future discussions. And that's as far as I want to go because, like I said, I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. I don't want to say something that might offend or upset anyone. Everyone who has feelings about this issue, the feelings are incredibly strong and terrifyingly so. And so I don't want to step in it, Clobby. I just don't want to step in it.
Don't worry. I'll do it myself here. Pop Culture Minefield, by the way. Good to see you. Welcome, buddy. It's always a pleasure. I mean, it's an honor to have you pop in. I'll actually go there and say this. The more I've thought about it, this episode, if you think about it, has mutated. Because at the time, it was strictly talking about how gays, and it was rightly talking about how horribly gays were treated back then.
Yeah.
And now it has shifted from that. It has changed, and it not intentionally. It couldn't because it was made. It's already been made.
No.
It is now shifted into a conversation about what gender is, because there's the conversation that you and Enigmatic were just talking about, but almost as potent as the conversation between this character and Dr. Crusher when she's asking you about women, the differences between the genders, between men and women, and in this story is, I mean, if idiots who watch and love and make the filth, as we call it, the STD and stuff, would watch it, they would not like people like that who are authoritarian about the gender arguments wouldn't like it, because this episode is very pro the fact that genders are different. So it mutated into another meaning, I think, to something that, yes, it's horrible how gays were treated, especially back then. We now live in a time when they are treated much better, fortunately, which is a wonderful thing. Not saying everything's solved, but it's a wonderful thing how I think we've advanced in that. And now we have another problem. And this episode almost, unintentionally mutated into an episode talking about how it's important to distinguish that we have two genders, and that the genders are very different. So,
and it broaches the idea of a gender being forbidden, or even expressing preferred gender, how it could be ridiculed or received violently. Like I said, stick of dynamite. This is a whole truck. This is a claw bony filled with dynamite, and very, very, very touchy, very extraordinarily sensitive conversation to be having, especially extemporaneously in some type of exchange where there isn't someone from the community representative of thoughts and feelings on it. So that's as far as I'm willing to go.
Well, and when it comes down to it, it did what Star 2 episodes in a row that did what Star Trek is supposed to do. Okay, well, what is your ranking of the Outcast? And I will, for the way this works, everyone, as you all know, I will ask number one her ranking, then I'll give mine, then I will ask all of you wonderful friends in the chat. So hold off on yours till I ask. Go for it. Number one.
So for me, because of the cultural relevance, because of its fearlessness for 1992, 29 years ago, coming up with this idea that one day we would have no gender, or that people would prefer that we have no gender, or that society would move that way. Wow, this is earth-shaking stuff. And I'm going to say it again, 29 years ago. And being able to facilitate a conversation that is a claw bony filled with dynamite. This is must-watch Star Trek. It has aged well, and it keeps the conversation going. And wow, what a dangerous conversation it is. It is not, as I have so often said, and you all are becoming very familiar with this very academic word, it is not didactic. It does deal with hegemony, and I hope you're becoming familiar with that word as well. And very powerful, very scary stuff. I'm going to go ahead and give it an A-.
Well, there you go. I'm going to give it. I was toying with the A- range. I'm going to go with the A because I've talked myself kind of into the fact that I believe that, again, back then I really liked it, but I always thought, okay, you I guess since I can't think of a better thing to use as an analogy, go with it. And the stuff with the like a romance stuff, I always kind of laughed at it a little bit because it was very quickly. They didn't know each other very long.
That's the
I'm
reason
always
why
talking
I
about
give it the minus.
right. But we're always knocking it when they do that on the show. No reviews yet, everyone. But,
Yes, please hold your reviews, please. But yes, that's the reason why I produced
Right.
the negative on the A, and it is because in the previous episode we have Riker romancing Troy and trying to get himself, in a romantic embrace with her after betting Ro, and they're going at it like bunny rabbits, and then all of a sudden he literally professes his love for this alien who he hasn't even had a passing experience with. He spent some time with her in his shuttle. They've worked together a day or two, but he professes his love. Soren, I love you. What? What do you mean? So that's why I produced the minus for it,
Right.
and only for that reason, Captain.
That was that for me back then. I thought it was a very powerful episode. It was that problem plus the fact that I thought that, well, your analogy for gay is gender. I was kind of, I don't know, but then I got to be fair. I can't think of any other analogy you might use. So I was like, okay, and it was very laudable for what they were doing back then. And now I almost think it's better now for a completely different topic. It's almost, again, I believe this episode has mutated into a discussion about how it is important to have it's important to us to celebrate the differences between the genders, and that there is such a thing as gender, something you wouldn't think there would even be a question in 1992. No one argued about that because it's a stupid thing to have to argue about. And so it did a lot for, I think it did a lot back then, and it's doing even more now. Of course, I don't know. I just think it's just as powerful now.
Neerot Anaximandabear says the Decker unit. Oh, well, he said he once fell in love with a hologram. Yes, but the thing is about that, Neerot, is that that was some good writing, because what it does is it implies an in-world holodeck addiction. So when he's continually going to the holodeck, it is revealed to us that when he meets, when he goes to the holodeck, his preference is to meet with Minuet and to sort of have his way in that room, and then they have to call in a cleanup crew. But you get what I'm saying. So there's there's an implied relationship there. I think it's sloppy writing when we can go from one episode to another where he's gone after multiple women. It's annoying, and I don't like it. Yeah.
No, I was going to say, Mr. Angel, I wasn't even near clicking that time. I don't think it's the pen. I'm starting to think it's something else that you're hearing.
I think it's me when I'm starring all of the comments that I want.
It's
you
the click
to
of
say.
a mouse that you're hearing, I think.
Yeah.
Not the click of the pen like I thought it was originally. But anyway, sorry.
Yeah, just so everyone at home knows, I click what I think is interesting, and I also
I'm not hearing
click
you. I don't hear
your
you.
beautiful reviews, and then they go to a special tab that Clubby reads from. So you might be hearing the click of my mouse, and I do apologize.
All right. Well, sorry about that. But anyway, okay, so you gave it an A-. I gave it an A. And now, my friends, please start your reviewing. Go. The word
is given. You've heard our captain. Please go ahead, fire at will. Give those reviews. And please feel free to share some brief comments. We'll put them up on the marquee, and the captain will read them.
And as a reward, since you're all being so good today, I'll eat a piece of popcorn. Just for you. There you go. Okay, a few pieces of popcorn. All right. We're getting these started up for you.
They are. I'm bringing them all home now, Captain. They're big dumps of information. And the StreamYard is just serving it up to me here, and I'm clicking them all.
Wow. Some espics.
Yes. Which I think is wonderful because, it means the communities, the Trekkie community has a lot to say.
Well, now we have enough stored up, and I will get us started.
Yeah, you rock and roll. And maybe I'll just mute myself for right now, Captain,
No, you don't have
so
to do
that
that.
no one can hear the clicky click. Okay?
Nah, don't worry about the clickers. Don't worry. It's up to you. Anyway, Mega Croppers gives it a D. Thank you, Mega Cropper. Appreciate you. James Caserta says a B+. Thank you, James. Appreciate that, and we're happy to see you here tonight with us. JT Kirk gives us a C+ and says this episode watches similar to a birthing through a husk like a J nail. Why oh why must the Decker unit play the role of lover? Yeah, Geordie, Barkley, anyone but Decker unit. Sauron can do better. No,
I love JT Kirk, by the way. I'm going to mute myself so you don't hear my clicking. But JT Kirk, I love you.
I can never hear the clicking, by the way. Okay, yeah. Anyway, unless I watched and didn't comprehend something, this app endorses conversion therapy. No, it doesn't endorse it. It condemns it. JT, it's condemning it because, well, put it to you like this: I don't think it endorses it. It's saying that it happens on this planet. And so I think we're meant to believe, just as in 1992 or now, that the people making this episode are definitely condemning it, and rightly so. They're just showing that it happens. So I don't know. I don't see it that way, buddy. I also don't believe Riker would decline to show his reproductive organs if asked by someone he likes.
Love you.
Yeah. So I don't think it's endorsing conversion therapy, buddy. That's just me. Who knows? You have to call him and ask him. I wouldn't think those people would be for that sort of thing, though. And it's a horrible thing. So why would they be? This one, Eric Carroll, thank you, says this one has a heartbreaking ending. C. Thank you, Eric. Appreciate you there. Mr. Angel says B+. I really don't see an advanced species choose this direction voluntarily without a deep social conflict preceding it. A weird monoculture that has become so rigid it forces all of its citizens in the same mold. I'm not buying it. A society so fundamentalistic in its approach to sexual freedom would probably disintegrate fast. Love pointing this episode out to the new filth lovers. Yeah, it is good for that as well. But look, I don't disagree necessarily entirely with that. I see what you're saying, but they felt like they needed to say what they wanted to say rather than, they felt it was worth it to say what they needed to say.
I've read. It should be stated right now, to that end, that I have read that Soren uh, actually says that they are an advanced race, and that was removed from the script. But you have to understand, folks, you know that I am a scholar, I'm an academic. So if I can't find concrete evidence of something, if there's no reference, if I can't cite something directly, and it can't just be somebody on some internet board, then I can't bring it forward as evidence. But you should know that that rumor exists,
What?
that the Janai, that
Yeah.
Soren actually says the Janai are an advanced race.
Well, they're
And,
clearly advanced.
and
Yeah.
many people on set felt that if they were so advanced, they would not do this to their own people. So it was ruled that that line should be removed from the script. Now I'm going to say this again. I do not have absolute proof of this, and I don't like bringing that kind of stuff forward unless I'm qualifying it as something that I've never seen reliable in-text citation on. And everyone should know that on the internet, where there is user-generated information, a lot of the stuff that you read about Star Trek on IMDb, on Memory Alpha, it's crap. It's crap.
Crap.
Crap, crap,
There
crap.
you go. Michael Beacom says, B+. Attempting to go where no one has gone before. Flawed, but nice try and worthy. And great to throw in the face of the filth writers and fans who love to act like they did everything first. Yes, it is good for that too as well. Yeah.
It's true.
Let's see here. Mr. Tickle Trunk has an
It's not a very genuine conversation, is it? When we have an episode like this 29 years ago, and when we have Beverly getting herself involved in this idea of transgender and being with 3 different bodies in the space of 2 days, that was 31 years ago, 32 years ago. So here we are, 32 years ago and 29 years ago. So yes, let's just stay genuine, because nothing hurts an argument more than not telling the truth. So just tell the truth.
Indeedishness. Mr. Tickle Trunk says, A, I'm able to dismiss the rigidity of these people. Perhaps their adherence to certain traditions boiled away a lot of distractions that would enable them to grow quickly technologically. Okay, fair point. Okay, so far. A fair point, sir. Let's see. The modern day filth needs to take note. This is how you endear an audience to someone with a non-traditional individual, be it sexually or whatever. I think who is? I'm not sure what this is, or whatnot. Even myself, as a youngster, instantly. Hang on, I got to get to your next one here, sir. Understood what the episode was trying to tackle and did so with some heart, like with the pronoun discussion. Yes, that was good. It was more real disclosure than what a lot of people demand today. And it's funny how back then we had no clue. If when you watch that discussion, it just made sense how that's something that would be controversial today. It's amazing. Both parties were curious, clumsy, yet respectful, and resilient enough to understand one another better. But more importantly, accept each other as they are. Rewatching this episode, I had what was that? That was 4. Oh, maybe oh, sorry, 5 was your last one. Okay. Did I leave one out there, Mr. Tickleton? So put it back in there, because once I unstart, I can't find it, and I should have done that.
No, Mr. Tickletrunk says, please excuse me, Captain. He said, I made a mistake. I didn't mean to do that. I have 2 5 of 6s. He didn't mean to do that.
Gotcha. Yes, the characters declared their love for one another so quickly, but this episode had to condense so many happenings into 44 minutes. Be honest with yourselves. Riker is a walking Horgon shrug.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes,
exactly.
yes. Yeah, that's for sure. Let's see here. Sandra Feliciano says B. Commodore Spurpees might have made matters worse. Prime Directive, not his place to judge or interfere. True. However, people should be able to love as they want, but not use it as a weapon against others. Okay. Raymond Feliciano says, B, groundbreaking episode. The Decker unit's behavior detracts from a higher grade. Okay. I hear you. Find Them Outsider says, B, this episode shows the reverse of what they were going for, as the state gets to pick your non-gender for you. So how do they select a mate? How is procreation done? She mentions it in the episode, I believe, how kids are born. This episode shows the state.
A husk. They inseminate a husk.
Yeah, they mentioned it. Can crush the individual if given the power to do so. Look at how they enforce their edict. Brainwashing of a type. Really? The main problem is that Decker is an unreliable individual. Hang on, Phantom. Worf would have been more likely with what would have been more likely with what Klingons being very emotional driven and had fierce loyalty, as shown when Worf aids Riker, who refused to help Worf only last week. Also first trans ep. Turnabout intruder. Okay, yeah. Well, maybe that's. Come on now. Well, sort of. As a kid, I had no idea what an emery board was, but when Kirk was using one after the takeover, it was very odd. To borrow from Airplane, what's a man doing with an emery board?
Well, actually, Phantom Outsider, if you really want to understand Star Trek fully, and you want to include the whole community in that whole idea, I would just like you to know now that the first non-binary episode in all of Star Trek was the cage, and so that would be the menagerie, and that is because the Telosians had actually developed such cerebral powers that they had given up on gender and all sexuality, which is why they needed to find a species to repopulate their planet. So, and the Keeper reveals all of this in the closing dialogue he has with Pike. So, the very first non-binary creature and the first non-binary episode was of Star Trek was most definitely the cage. But you wouldn't have seen that. You would have seen the menagerie first, and then you would have seen the cage, simply because the cage, they turned that down and it wasn't delivered until the 80s. But just so you know, first non-binary are the Telosians, as expressed by the Keeper, just so you know.
Mr. Tickletrunk had another one here. I guess I didn't see this one. I don't know what. This episode went from the original B. I would have given it 3 decades ago because its concept has aged like a fine wine. Adult, respectful, powerful, and the allegory continued
continues to be helpful.
Oh, I guess it continues to be helpful.
Mr. Tickletrunk, thank you so much for your comment
absolutely.
Tonight. It's really outstanding, and I want to thank everyone in the chat for having such an adult conversation without any type of insult and just being very open-minded and very open-hearted. It's very good, and I appreciate it very much, and so does Clobby. This is a community at the end of the day, and we want to make sure that we're being friendly and kind to one another.
Absolutely.
I put up a couple of stars there because our wonderful friend, Mr. Tickletrunk, has left a couple of gifts for you, Captain. So when you get to those, you can get to those now, or you can get to those when you get to the other ones.
I'll be right there. I'll be right to it there. A good old buddy, Simply Steve. It's good to see you again, Steve. 9 out of 10 gender reassignments for its addressing of not only gays, but also the first trickles of binary status 29 years before it became an issue, or a good, if not 29, a whole bunch. So yes, that's, as I was saying before, I think it kind of mutated in a sense there, Steve, and it mutated into something still, it's amazing, still very poignant. It's still very relevant, I would say.
Well, it's very important though too that we don't confuse gender and sexuality. So
No,
it's
but they
very
did
important
kind of with the
to say
original.
again that the cage, which would be representative of the menagerie, would be our first non-binary episode. This episode is the only the second to deal with how to tackle gender specifically, and prior to that, of course, we have Beverly um, experiencing this with a trill
Well,
when
right. Yeah.
unfortunately the trill goes through three bodies. So we see this a great deal on
Yeah.
social media, this conflation of sexuality and gender, and this whole idea of non-binary, and that it's all the same thing. It most certainly isn't. And as far as non-binary goes, Gene Roddenberry put that idea forward and filmed it beginning in 1964.
That's right.
1964.
Yep. Pleasant Valley Picker puts one says, I thought it was a brave, thought provoking episode. Ahead of its time. I also liked that Riker was more complex in this. In this, he didn't just want to bed her. He had feelings, and it was tragic. And it was tragic. A plus. And again, there's the thing about that Pleasant Valley. Like I keep saying, and I said about the last episode, these characters are so different from episode to episode, depending on whether the adults got into the room and wrote them, or the kiddies got into the room and wrote
Yeah,
them.
it's
And
so
this is
true.
it's another example of that. I think let me see, he had some. He had two more. Oh, here we go. Um, was in art school 35 years ago. Knew a gay guy, not close friend, but one night was at a bar and he was there, had a few beers and told me the abuse he faced at the times. I'm old myself, and the abuse and the horrible they were how horribly so many of them were treated at
Yeah,
that point. Absolutely. And that's why this episode, was so important for back then. They were many
yeah,
of them, many of my dear friends who are gay
yeah,
will tell you from that time, who were living at that time will tell you how horrible it was for them
yeah,
in many cases. So yes, and this resonated with them.
yeah,
Um, thing is, I always thought folks could be themselves. Supported same sex marriage 30 plus years ago. Sad. Well, we don't do a lot of politics here, but I see what you're saying. See me as a toxic white, see you as a toxic white male. Yeah, me too. Folks I always supported now hate me. Sad. I don't know. The people back then don't. I think it's just a lot of young fools now. A lot of people still understand. So,
the most important
um,
thing is that you just said the magic words for me as a person who supports lesbian, gay, bi, and trans people, and that is that 30 years ago, what was written on your heart was acceptance, kindness, friendship, and support, and that's all that matters to me.
yes.
And I think that that's all that really should matter to anyone. So I want you to keep trying because you're a good person. You just got to keep on trying and keep your heart pure and just keep getting that loving, kind message out there.
Yep. Absolutely. Would you like to do the honors for our good friend Enigmatic Drop Bear?
Sure, you want to throw them
What?
up for me? Enigmatic drop bear, the erudite bear, one of my favorite bears. I have three favorite bears. He's got a two-parter here. He's going to give this episode an A. He says, the irony of the principal theme of this story, the way it is presented, and the story's place in history, when compared to the didacticisms in modern popular culture franchises, is palpable. Yes, now I was taken aback in the same way. 2 out of 2. He says the story bravely elicits a discussion about prejudice and refers back to some of the abhorrent medical practices that were once used for correcting quote unquote deviant behaviors.
Absolutely.
Enigmatic dropper. Love, love, love you.
Absolutely. Very well said, sir. Thank you. Way to go, Ed. Eric Case, a C. That was one heck of a shuttle ride. What did we not see that Riker fell in love with so quick? Well, he does it all the time, but that's kind of a story trope.
Yep.
And you kind of, this man thinks with her. This man thinks with her until more than a 15-year-old boy watching cheerleader practice.
Yeah, he doesn't respect her at all. and it does. That's why I gave it the minus. Eric, I agree. It's not even slightly believable that he respects her and appreciates her intimately enough to say, Soren, I love you. No.
Kal-El says, A, this episode explored a sensitive topic in a time when it wasn't really discussed openly. Still, it was told fairly well with a message about tolerance that adheres to the spirit of Star Trek.
Mhm.
I hear you there. Thank you,
I agree.
Kal-El. I'm with you there. Our good friend Iranax Amanda Bear says, I give it an F for the gray goo future propaganda. They, whoever that may be, loves to push this no gender, live in pods, eat bugs future. It maximizes profits, but people shouldn't act like Ferengi. That's from Narat and Axamanda Bear, folks. That is his opinion.
We have a bot. Can someone attack that, please? I don't even have to say Eric's right
Exterminate
there.
that bot. Thank you, sir. Thank you for getting that one. Mr. Tickle Trunk says, this episode seems to be trying to get across that conforming is bad as well as as conversion therapy is bad, which, yes, it is. I think it's clearly doing that. Mr. Tickle Trunk, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. I appreciate you. You're too kind, my friend. And he says, this episode went from the original B. I would have given it 3 decades ago. You said this one earlier. Okay. Because its concept had aged like a fine wine, adult, respectful, and the allegory can continue to be helpful.
Yeah, this was his correction for what he actually wanted to send. And can I please just say right now, I beg your pardon, Captain, I don't want to interrupt you while you're talking,
okay.
But our chef, the ship's chef, Mr. Angel, he has to leave. He says, I can't stay anymore. I have to make breakfast. I have to hit the shower, and I'm off for a little drive to Belgium. See you all next week.
Well, have a great day. Thank you so much. Appreciate. Always great to see you, Chef. You take care. Have a great week, sir. And thank you for the $5 super chat, Mr. Tickle Trunk. You were too kind. Thank you so much, my friend. Our great chief engineer says, Mark D with a C says, A-, brave episode for its time, broaching the subject of gay rights, timely today with the discussion of gender.
Yes.
Aside from the crazy 5-minute romance and the Decker unit getting it on with an alien.
Yeah.
I don't know. Did he though? Never mind. Don't
answer. The face sucking part was unbelievable. I can't believe how much Johnny Fakes had his mouth open. I thought he was going to swallow her.
Oh man! Once again, Star Trek creates a powerful allegory to analyze society.
Mm-hmm.
Some want to eliminate the concept of a gender binary, and we have debates over transgender athletes.
Yes,
today.
This is what I mean. It's dynamite. It
mutated. I'm telling you,
dynamite.
It did. Intelligently tackles the subject matter and lets the viewer decide. Society has come a long way, but in many places, people are still subject to discrimination. That is true. That is absolutely true. Great chief engineer, sir. Yeah. So if we have no more reviews, I believe everyone we have finished with our 4 episodes of the evening.
Dun, 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 dun.
Whoa. Nice.
What's the matter?
Nothing. I'm just saying we got it handled.
Yeah.
What a great time. What a great night, everyone. It's just always so fantastic to see you here tonight, everybody. Well, that was great. Number 1. Thank you.
Powerful stuff, and I have to say once again, before we get too far away from it, I would just like to say that a lot of you are anonymous on here, and it's very easy to behave badly towards one another in chats when you are anonymous. I just want to say how proud I am of all of you for showing integrity and coming into these conversations so maturely and so intelligently, and expressing your feelings, but also expressing respect towards one another and articulating yourselves in a productive manner. I cannot believe we are on the open internet with a bunch of anonymous people. You are a special, special group of people. How much I love you, folks. And I'm proud to be in a community with you. thank you so much. Just wonderful, wonderful comments tonight of challenging ideas and showing support and decorum. You're the best.
Hey,
Mwah,
Monkey
mwah.
Jeebus. Monkey Jeebus.
Monkey
Good to see you, buddy.
Jeebus!
Yeah. Good to see you there, bud. Oh, Mr. Tickle Trunk again. Again, you were too kind, my friend. Thank you so much for that. We're all students of science fiction here. Respect for our fellow fan, our person, or person is our natural state.
You
That
betcha.
is a well said. Look, I didn't realize you were here, Mr. Terrell 72. Good to see you.
Tyrell!
But always great to see the Terrell. But thank you so much for that, Mr. Tickle Trunk. Again, you were too kind, my friend. Let's see here. We'll do a quick show note. And what I do? I put the wrong thing in there. I have to. I will. Well, we'll start out with doing our show ending notes with my wonderful first officer telling you about her literary works.
Thank you so much for offering your space to promote my work.
Oh.
Folks, I'm a science fiction author, and I could use the community's support. I'm trying to publish a short story collection, science fiction short story collection, and in order to drum up interest, I'm selling the stories separately for under $1 a piece, and you can buy them on your Kindle device. You can also download them for any device from Amazon. All you have to do is look up R.M. Briggs on Amazon or your Kindle device, and a bunch of stories will populate. I would appreciate your support. If you're wondering what the stories are like, they're a bit like The Twilight Zone and Edgar Allan Poe meets H.G. Wells and Philip K. Dick. So they're in that vein. And my latest story, I actually dedicated to Clobby. So I can't wait for you all to read it. It's called Maya, the Van on the Driveway. So, and I would just like to take this time to also say thank you to everyone who has supported my work. It's really difficult to be an indie artist. Their publishing firms are not really keen on publishing short stories. It's incredibly difficult to get short stories published, and certainly short stories science fiction. So you mean the world to me, and your help and support and your beautiful reviews have touched my heart, and I'm just so grateful and honored to know all of you. So thank you very much.
Well, look at that one there.
JT Kirk. I read
JT.
them 5 stars. They were all awesome. I was sad when there weren't more. Are you planning on publishing more in the near future? Yes, I am. I love you, JT Kirk.
Oh,
and
wow.
JT Kirk, I have so much respect for you. The fact that you love the stories and you said they're awesome. You have no idea what that means to me. I love you so much. I'm so glad you enjoyed them. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Wow, thank you so much.
Well, thank you. Absolutely. Show note, a quick show note before we get out of here, folks. And then we'll say our goodbyes. Monday night, 3 hours earlier than usual, Monday Night Mark C. Comics Talk. Clavy's Classic Comics Review. We'll be reviewing the 1990, late 90s Elseworlds classic story, Kingdom Come, with my great buddy J-Man. So I'm looking forward to that. So you comics fans, of course, we'll be here next week, same Trek time, same Trek channel, and many other times in the middle throughout the course of the week. Shall we stream ourselves away? But before all of that, we will start saying our goodbyes to all of our wonderful friends. As always, everyone who is here that I have on my list anyway, whether you are still here or not, we shout you out at the beginning and the end because this has become such a wonderful thing that we're having such a great time at, and you all have made it such. You've all just been so wonderful. We really appreciate your interactions and you're hanging out with us and just talking some Trek and your opinions and just really, really think the world of you. You've all made this show such a fun and wonderful interaction on Saturday nights. It's really special to us. So thank you so much. And let me start with our shout outs. So here we go. The great Felicianos, Raymond and Sandra. Thank you so much.
The most romantic wrenches on the internet. Can I just bid you both a very happy Valentine's Day? Be good to each other.
Yes.
And have a wonderful, wonderful Valentine's Day,
Yes,
Feliciano.
indeed. Yes, happy Valentine's Day to you. That's all. Let's see here. Let's see what else we got. The wonderful Janet from Another Planet was here.
Yay!
Yay.
Interplanet Janet, she's a galaxy girl.
I hope you have a wonderful weekend. By the way, everyone have a great Super Bowl weekend as well.
Have a wonderful Super Bowl weekend.
It's combined with combining it with Valentine's. That's crazy. That's because they add. Oh, look who's here.
Yay.
Andy Masterson popped in for a sec. Andy
Masterson, a wonderful maker, a very talented maker. Good to see you, Andy. Thank you for stopping in.
See, they added an extra game to the NFL schedule this year. That's why it's now the Super Bowl will be linked to Valentine's Day. And yes, I agree, JG Kirk. Go Bengals.
Mm-hmm.
Boo Rams. But anyway, let's see here.
So there better be chocolates along with the chili cheese dogs. That's all I'm saying, folks. Make sure you pick up a box of heart-shaped chocolates to go beside the chili cheese dogs. I don't want any of the chocolates, but I definitely want the
Look who's here, the great Mark D with a C, our engineer or somebody.
Hey, so Raquel, you thought I would actually miss Saturday Night Star Trek to be with the lovely missus?
Yes.
Well, she's not listening. So I better not get in trouble. I'm not going to say anything.
You're being recorded, so I'd watch.
I'm being recorded. Yeah, she probably won't hear this. Yeah, but well, yes, I would choose the missus over Saturday Night Star Trek.
Oh, good. That's good. That's good.
Yeah,
I have to tell the truth. Yeah.
Lord Thoth had to run, but shout out to the great LT. Avon lives. Long live the Legion, my brother.
And Mrs. LT, who is often there in the
Mrs.
background.
LT, the lovely Mrs. LT, of course. Phantom Outsider, buddy. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments tonight. Have a great weekend.
The great D. Bud Martin, the man of iron, buddy.
And he was wrenching tonight, wasn't he?
He did. He's always Thank you for the help there, D. Bud, with all that stuff and wrenching, of course. Appreciate you. The great Snorter Poopas Cuber.
Cuber.
The great bronze wrencher himself, Eric K. Thank you, buddy.
Thanks
for all your help, bro. Really appreciate you, man. And of course, the great Chris Persia. I don't know if he had to run, but Chris Persia, we love you, brother. Thank you.
Love you. Thank you.
Thank you, Anaxamanda Bear. Kal-El, buddy. Thank you so much as always,
Real
man.
Superman.
The real Superman, indeed, sir. Mazarus was here earlier. I don't know if he still is, but Mazarus, thank you.
Great friend to this show and great friend to me online. Thank you so much for your support of my work and this show and, Clubby's channel in general. Mazarus, you've been really great. You've been a really great friend to me and to Clubby behind the scenes. So got to shout you out for that. Thank you so much for being here. Have a wonderful weekend.
Indeedishness. The great J-Man, I think he had to run, but J-Man, buddy, can't wait to see you Monday night. Mr. and Mrs. Dadman, the Dadman clan, thank you so much for being here. Appreciate you.
Happy Valentine's Day, you crazy kids.
Just Joe 47 Jobber, buddy. Always great to see you, bro.
Good night.
The amazing and enigmatic Drop Bear himself, one of our great bears. And ED, thank you.
Outstanding performance this evening. Thank you so much for your wonderful contributions.
Yep, drop the mic for the Drop Bear.
Yes.
Great comments.
Yes.
Oh, look who just walked through the door. Pop Culture Republic's here.
Wasn't he earlier? Oh, it was a different one. Pop Culture Republic, welcome. It's good to see you, man. Good to see you. JT Kirk, buddy.
I love JT Kirk. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for supporting this channel and this show and just for being outstanding. A big brain. I love you, you big nerd.
Indeedishness. Your Muslim uncle popped in earlier, my friend. Thank you. Peace be upon you. And good to see you.
Yes, have a great weekend.
Michael Beacom, always a pleasure, my friend. Thank you for being here.
Great comments as usual. Thank you so much for joining us.
Wolfie was here for a while tonight, I believe. I thought it was...
Wolfie
still here? Hey, Wolfie. Captain Marty Spock, I saw him pop in earlier. Marty. Cockney, good to see you.
He can't wait for the time travel episode next week. He told me.
Oh, can't wait. We got some time travel going on. Good. We'll make it a special episode for him tonight on a very special episode of Riker's Pants. Pleasant Valley Picker.
Night, BC.
Some weirdo named Mark D with a C. I don't know who that is.
That guy. I heard he's the
crazy
chief engineer on his ship.
Yes. The worst engineer. He's engineer Captain Dunzel.
I'm heading to the corner to look at my toys.
Eric Carroll, thank you for being here. Eric
Thank you
Carroll.
for being here and your wonderful comments. Thank you.
Mega Cropper, as always, good to see you, and thank you so much for being here, Mega.
Have a great weekend.
Darius Munchausen popped in earlier. Darius, buddy, good to see you.
Hey, Dalek, 451.
Dalek. He
Oh,
laughed.
sorry.
It's okay.
I don't watch that show. Sorry.
He does, yeah. Well, he knew that because as soon as you pronounced it last time, he knew. Dalek knew that you don't. Well, but that's okay. That's how people who don't watch Doctor Who pronounce it. That's fine.
Exterminate.
Well, hello there, Dalek 451. It is always a pleasure to see you popping in here. And love me a Dalek. We all love a Dalek.
Sorry, Dalek.
TMF, Toxic Man Fluid, my buddy.
Outstanding, and thank you so much for helping to keep the lights on in Clobby's virtual comic book shop, TMF and Mrs. TMF. I hope you guys have a wonderful romantic Valentine's Day together. TMF, thank you for supporting this show and being hysterical and being such a great friend to us.
Keely Chow, Roll Tide.
Yeah, thank you for stopping in.
Mr. Gasmask Animations, the son of our wonderful dear departed Bart C. Good. I'm glad you popped in there tonight, buddy. He's probably asleep by now, but shout out to him nonetheless.
Good night.
Dave G. Sound, thank
Good night.
you. James Caserta, thank you for being here tonight.
Good night.
Mr. Angel, I know the chef had to run, but shout out to the chef.
Mhm.
Thank you so much, Mr. Tickle Trunk, for all your contributions and stuff, and I appreciate you. Thank you for being here, my friend.
Yeah, you're a wonderful person and a great friend to us and everyone in the community. Thank you so much, Mr. Tickle Trunk. Good night.
Indeed, Eric Carroll, 735 all the way, my friend. The great Cardinal Sin popped in for a while. Thank you. Thank you, Gil.
The
Appreciate
super
that.
chats and all that, the support of the show. That's so nice of you. Thank you, Cardi.
Thank you. Absolutely. The Comic Relief Crusader, buddy. Thank you for being here tonight. Canadian Spidey popped in for a little bit of a second there. Canadian Spidey, thank you. Simply Steve, it's good to see you back there, bud. Thank you.
Yes, good night.
A World Made of Cardboard, thank you, my friend. I appreciate you.
Thank you for being here.
And they call him Scuba Pete. Good to see you, Scuba. Arabic Sonder. I don't know who. That's a new one on me, but I've said that Jill, our wonderful communications officer, Jill, sent in my so.
Hello.
Thank you, Arabic.
Well, that's a great reference.
Arabic, I love that name. Pop Culture Minefield popped in for a second. Hey, Gary, if that's you, or if whichever one of you it is, or all of you. Hello.
I think it was Gary.
To all of
He
our
had to
good
go,
friends.
said he had to go paint something.
Oh, good. Well, Gary, our good friend Gary, and we love the fellows over at Pop Culture Minefield. If you haven't checked them out, everyone, find them and check them out. They have a great channel. They're good friends.
I'm getting some hearts from Scuba Pete. Scuba
There
Pete,
you go.
give Leslie a big old smooch on her beautiful face for me. Happy Valentine's Day, you crazy kids. And also to your wonderful offspring, extend my happy Valentine's Day and a nice little smooch there from Dad as well. So happy Valentine's Day, you wonderful family. Love the Pete's.
Bumpy Jeebus. Good to see you, buddy. Tyrell 72. Appreciate you being here as always, my friend. Thank
Night,
you.
Tyrell.
And again, the other one's Andy Masterson. We said hello to.
Yep.
And Pop Culture Republic was here. That's right. Popped in for the last second there. And Dalek 451. Those are our friends who popped in. So thank you all, everyone, for being here tonight. We appreciate you. We had a wonderful time as always. And those of you still here, get to see. I understand the working and lurking big time, Terrell. I do the same thing, Terrell. But we're just glad to see you.
Yeah.
Stick your head out once and just say hello. That's all you got to do. We're glad you're here.
Yep.
And now, everyone, for the great intro, outro, created by our wonderful First Officer, Commander Briggs, with some help to get it there by our Chief Engineer, Mark D. with a C. So, for the CLOBBERIN Time gang of Trekkers and Trekkies and Trekkettes and all other Treks in between, thank you so much. And have a wonderful Super Bowl Sunday and a wonderful Valentine's Day. And we'll hopefully see you back here Monday night. And next Saturday night, of course, I should have been talking like this the whole time. So everyone, I just want to say, have a wonderful Eat Too Much Tomorrow Day. on the Super Bowl. Go Bengals and clobber on clobberers. Good night, everyone. Joe, go Bengals.